Hello, Orville Nation. How are you guys today? Sorry for the late start. Hello, Axonar Comics, Adega, Loki, ALYSSIA, Yes and Again. Hello, Stephen Klein. Hello, Nerd Cookies. Hello, everybody who's in here. Thanks for joining us, guys. We have a really special night tonight. We have our co-host, George Peter GATSIS, who you all know as one of the major authorities in... One second.
Hi.
Where am I getting this echo from? Sorry, guys. Okay. Are you okay? So let me introduce George Peter GATSIS. You all know.
Hi, greetings, everybody.
Do the guests have do you guys have headphones in?
Yes, I have headphones.
Yeah.
Yep, I have headphones as well.
Okay. Let me introduce then DINALE. DINALE is the amazing creator who's bringing us the Immortal mask. Welcome, DINALE.
Well, thank you for having me there, PJ. And thank you, George, for co-hosting the show.
Shucks.
Okay. There we are. Now, sorry, I had too many windows open for Orville Nation. An amazing night tonight, guys. Hello, Loki, ALYSSIA, Axonar. Hello, everybody. Hello, Ensign Ricky. Thanks for joining us. So, excuse me, guys. I have sniffles. I have a lot of allergies today, and so we've been George and I have been waiting a long time. I mean, a really long time to be able to interview DINALE because we knew his project was coming, and we've just been so eager to see what the Immortal mask was going to be like. We didn't know much, but now we're getting our first glimpses, and it all looks amazing. George, DINALE, how long ago did you first conceive this project?
Was around 2018 when I first conceived this particular character, and it was really last year that I was heavily developing the character from the ground up. From the origins, from the powers, everything about this character was heavy duty. Late nights with this concept, but I was having fun along the whole way, and I still am.
Now that's great. Now before we went live, I was telling George and DINALE George, obviously DINALE's the protagonist today, and all of a sudden these two guys erupted in laughter. So you guys want to share what that was about?
Well, my part is that I used to talk about, protagonist and antagonist, and George, being old school George, says, no, there's not such things as protagonist or antagonist because it doesn't mean anything. There's nothing meaningful. There's the hero and there's the villain. And if you try to say protagonist or antagonist, who the heck you're talking about? It can be anybody. So just say you're the hero or this is the hero. Okay, George, got it. Jeez. It's a sore spot for Mr. GATSIS here.
Yes, it's true. It's 100% true. It's all true.
So let's first of all, I know we have a lot to talk about, but I do want to put up the first image. So we do see who we're talking about, and I'm gonna take our guests to theimmortalmask.com, and I will put that in the chat. And And so this is the cover. This is the cover of the Immortal mask. And I gotta say, when I first saw this, I thought this was really, really badass DINALE. I think it's what you want to give us an overview of what we're looking at in the cover?
Yep. You have the main hero, the Immortal mask, and we're displaying one of his powers, which is blending into the shadows, as you can see in his effect. And he's in the night alley within the streets of Atlanta. So this is taking place in Atlanta, where this particular story for this cover is going to be taking place. So it's really awesome. I mean,
Wow,
I'm Atlanta, Georgia. So this is pretty cool. Go ahead.
Here, just to the Trekkies in the room, to Axinar Comics and everybody. So Immortal Mask has some kind of, Romulan cloaking device costume, which is really cool. It's pretty badass. And I don't think I've ever, I mean, I'm sure there's been some, but I haven't heard of any superheroes, based on the Atlanta area. And I think that's an amazing idea, because that's a very, very thriving metropolis. Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I was watching actually Boardwalk Empire and the whole prohibitions and all that stuff. There's a lot of good story to mine from there. And there's a lot of history in Atlanta that I'm just like, everybody goes to New York or Chicago's or LA, but there's really good stories and really good aspects. Like there's the Atlanta-based FBI headquarters there. There's the Coca-Cola place there. I mean, at this time period that we have it, it's not active there, but there's other portions of it. And a lot of things that, I was looking for that Atlanta was clicking and had there, right there. Like every time I say, just Atlanta have this, and it just came out. It just clicked. It was a natural click. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm sorry I'm being vague about it, because I want you guys to read it. It's amazing what I was able to dig up, what I was able to research from this city and its history and what potential it has. So I was, I'm excited for the cover, but I'm more excited for the story that I want to present to you guys as well.
Of course. Let me just say hello to Ensign Ricky, to Shia, to Troy. Hello, Troy. Everybody who's joining us. Thanks, guys. And I want to also acknowledge the gang from Messy Desk and the Orville Fan Experience, who have given us these great backgrounds of the Orville Ready Room, which is where the three of us are sitting. We're sitting in the Orville Ready Room of the USS Orville. So, any comments, George, on this character from you? On the cover?
When DINALE was explaining it to me, I kept on asking him questions. What about this? What about that? And he kept on coming up with answers. And I said, well, that's preposterous. There's no such thing as an underground city in Atlanta. Oh, yes, there is. Oh, okay. Well, that's preposterous. There's no mountains near Atlanta. You know what? Next thing you know, yes, there is.
He keeps saying, no, there isn't. And yes, there is.
There's this world that DINALE has created such a rich tapestry of, and story and action and everything. It's absolutely spectacular. It totally blows my mind. I mean, there's one part. I said there's the part when I said there's no underground world. There's no way. It's like forget it. It's like those kind of underground worlds exist in caves in the Middle East and all that. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, it does. I stopped questioning DINALE at that point. I said, yeah, okay, you're hitting it. You're hitting it all. Right out of the park.
Yeah.
500 for 500.
Yeah, like I said, they don't, because Atlanta hasn't been used. There are so many locales, stories that can be used. It's one of the reasons why a lot of productions are going to Atlanta, because they're realizing there's a lot of areas that could be used around Atlanta for their TV show. And some of the, like for example, Stranger Things, they used the quarry that's right northwest of Atlanta for their own quarry in those special effects season 1. That quarry has been also done for Walking Dead, as somebody mentioned when they were talking about Rick Grimes and all that. And I'm saying, yeah, and that's only one aspect. And I'm looking through the whole of the metropolis that you said for Atlanta, and it's chock full. There's the underground railroads. There's the mountains that George alluded to. There's the underground cities, the underground mall, and it's amazing. There's a lot of mileage going on with Atlanta.
Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting. Hello, Robert. Hello, how are you guys? Now, have you? So, what is the public going to be? What is the public's first exposure going to be to this DINALE? What's their first? What's the format of the first? Is it a single comic? Is it a collection? Is it a series? What's the first?
Yeah, it's going to be a series, and I'm sorry for interrupting because I'm excited as well. No, this is the first issue of a long series. I've written up the script. The script is done. I've mapped out up to 10 volumes worth of material for this. I have 15 detailed scripts already in place, and I'm still writing, at this very moment. Well, not this very moment, but before I got on, I've been writing. So I've been having fun just fleshing out this world, the people, the culture. The more that I dig and I say, can this happen at this time period? Boom, it opens up. I look and yes, it can. And it's just, everything that I want, Atlanta provides. And it builds this synergy that I probably would have a harder time. But since it's Atlanta, since I've been there before, visiting, and it's close by, it's been a fantastic ride. And, this is just a starting line. And I'm hoping that, everybody comes and joins me in this journey that I'm presenting to you guys with the Immortal Mask.
Actually, that's a very good point. What are they now when they go to DINALE's, when they go to immortalmask.com, there's a place to register, correct?
Right.
So, I see it.
Yep.
Right here.
So they just put in their email, hit submit, and you are part of the newsletter. So if you want to get updates to exclusive new images that we'll be releasing throughout the spring and summer as we build up to the campaign, news, exclusive discounts, you just sign up here. If you decide to back us in our campaign when we launch, we'll look at those email addresses. And if you use the same email addresses, then, if we advertise any discounts, you will be eligible for that as well. So
guys, I want to urge you all, while we're watching this, if you can click on the link that I just put in for the Immortal Mask, you just go to the first page and scroll down and register. And you'll be part of DINALE's mailing list and all those whatever wonderful benefits comes with being registered to the immortalmask.com. And again, excuse me, guys, because I have really bad allergies. It's going to be really annoying. I'm going to mute myself. I'm sorry. Trey, thank you, Trey, has already done it. And Trey, by the way, I saw Trey's comment before. Trey from Axonar Comics thought I said what was the comment I saw before? He says, I'm absolutely digging. Axonar Comics says, I'm absolutely digging this cover, DINALE.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And for anybody who haven't done it, guys, sub to Trey at Axonar Comics, please. And I also want to say hi to our wrench and special friend Adega, the Dega Outlaw, who's saying hi to Jet, and hello Jet too. Great. So now I don't know exactly how much to pry, because I know you don't want to divulge too much. But
No,
what
ask.
ask.
And Denali will say, "I can't speak of that," or he will. I have no idea where his mind is at.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm the co-host too.
So Denali, where is where's this inspiration coming from? Where is it from your own life? Is it from your observations? Is it from?
Well, I've grown up in the 90s, and a lot of the stories, basically, I'm that generation that grew up on television. So I was watching the old, Errol Flynn's, the Doc Savage's, The Shadow, and all those stories, and like Iron Man, the X-Men animated series, Batman, the anime series, those classical storytelling of comic books that everybody say this is the benchmark of stories. That's the era that grew up, and that's what I'm trying to encapsulate with my story. This is what I gravitate to with my stories, telling a worthwhile story that with a character that's principled. Even if the world's against him, he will do what needs to be done, the right of it, because it's the right thing to do. I'm inspired by, Captain America, Superman. Their challenges is never the fighting, it's the morality, the call to action to say, what's right. And if you know what's right, you should do what's right. Don't be a bystander. I think one of the Superman stories said evil wins when good men do nothing. And those kind of story resonates me. So those are the kind of inspiration at that time. And I see a lot of stories these days that doesn't really resonate. It's like I see in the news media, I see comic that they don't know how to write for Superman. I don't know how to write for Captain America. I don't know how to write for Blue Boy, the fairy tale, because they've kind of forgotten what it is to write a principal character, because principal characters are never liked by anybody because they do what's right, and they allow the freedom of others to be inspired by them. So I look into the Immortal Mass and say, who is my ideal superhero? Who's my ideal person that would inspire me to move forward and be a person that I could be better? And that's what I try to do with the Immortal Mass as well. It's like, who will inspire me to do good, not just for myself, but for the community as well. And I pour those ideas and concepts, those classical heroes, into the Immortal Mask, and blend it. And it, like always, like the stories from 1,000 years, like Odysseus, like Hercules, like now the superheroes of Superman, they resonate. There's a reason why they resonate. It's Luke Skywalker. They resonate because they're flawed, but they strive to be better. And that's something that, I want to reunite in people's mind, give that inspiration. You are imperfect, but you strive for that perfection.
I like that because, I like that they're trying to be better, because everyone's flawed, and maybe more traditional superheroes didn't seem that flawed, but it's okay to be flawed, and the fact that you're trying to be a better person, you're trying to be better in life. Yeah, Fatal, join us. Absolutely. We just started. We were late. It's my fault. By the way, before I forget, tomorrow night, guys, I have to make this sidebar because tomorrow night we have something very, very special. George Peter GATSIS has provided something very special for everyone on his channel. And tomorrow night, George is doing a second part to what we did on Orville Nation. On the George Peter GATSIS channel, he's going to have Alan Dean Foster and Robert Meyer Burnett for humor in science fiction. And do you want to say a word on that, George? And I'm putting it in the chat. Whoever's not subbed to George, this is his channel.
Yeah, humor in sci-fi. I got inspired by the conversation that we originally had on Orville Nation, and what was talked about and what was missing in the works that we see today. And it resonated with me so much so that I started thinking, wait a minute. There's a reason why I feel sad when I watch Star Trek Discovery or Picard, and they lack the humor. They had a lot of member berries, but where's the humor?
Hey, wait, George. They have Tribble cereals in Discovery.
Oh, yes. Let's eat those poor little space kittens, you know? So I collected a wonderful team of wide-ranging experiences from very young to very experienced. And we're all going to be talking about humor and sci-fi. And that's it. We're only going to be talking about happy things. And I will make sure we keep on track, being happy. That's it.
Great. So I put that in the chat. Whoever's not subbed to George, please do so. And that will be tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. And great. Okay. So bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm all sniffly. So Adega says, too many stories today try to show people are failed humans. It's great to have stories of those who overcome. Yeah. George mentioned Picard before. They really are deconstructing Picard as they've done with other characters as of late in Star Wars, for example. And it's very unfortunate. And it's actually one of the reasons that PJ sounds like he's dying. Yeah. And it's one of the reasons that some of the channels on YouTube have really blown up in the last couple of years. And even probably the creation, well, probably no, even the creation of things like the Phantom Menace are due to this phenomenon of trying to deconstruct our heroes. So
yeah, the problem with the writers today's deconstructing is they don't understand what they're deconstructing. They're just aping the masters of what deconstructed because they understood what their point was for those deconstructions, and at the end of their story, they were able to reconstruct them again. Now, in these stories, it's just a pale imitation of those former stories, except done poorly, without humor.
Now, look, now that you guys are talking about humor, what part does humor play in the Immortal Mask?
A lot. It's funny because we're always laughing about these situations. I like it to think kind of like the old Jackie Chan's films where there's comedy and action. Physical comedy and reaction comedy, and kind of sarcastic. There's not like over jokey comedy, but there's always that underlying humor throughout the pages and throughout the action interactions of the characters.
I like Denali that you said Jackie Chan, because what a wonderful combination of action, heroics, and yeah, there's some funny stuff in some of those, especially some of the old ones of Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah, Police Story, The Drunken Master. So, I'm a big fan of Jackie Chan and his physical. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy Jackie Chan's movies from Hong Kong in his earlier work instead of his Hollywood version, because Jackie Chan is a perfectionist, and if you allow him to do what he needs to do, he'll bring that physical comedy into it. Whereas in the Hollywood state, they cut all that out, and you have these rough cut that has no underlying meaning, which is kind of like how the closest I could think of was one of the animators from the Star Wars Special Edition, when they were talking about Jabba, and where they realized, when we got the technology to do Jabba and move Jabba all around, and we were moving it, we figure out what was wrong with it is that Jabba was lack of motion and lack of movement, and the lack of movement was an action onto itself. And the same thing with that one is Jackie Chan's comedy. It comes through the physicality of his fight scene, that you have to see it throughout the whole screen, not lace intercut like the traditional Hollywood does, because there is a story, there's a method, there's an action reaction, kind of like a ballet going on. And they kind of undermine it when they do all the close-up cuts, because unfortunately Jackie Chan is one of those people that can go faster than the camera, and the people he usually fights with are not that well versed, unlike himself. So, but it's neither here and there, and it costs a lot of money to do those scenes.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. And by the way, guys, Denali also, just like Jackie, Denali also does all his own stunts, just so you know that. So, very important.
Yep, black belt in karate.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fatal, are you listening to me, Fatal? Denali is a black belt in karate. You gotta come on the stream. Don't wait. Come on now, Fatal. Fatal loves ninjas. He's
Ninja.
He's all about martial arts and ninjas.
Yeah.
And hello, Classic Glue. Hello, hello, Mike. Hello, Mike Satterfield, our Voyager, Star Trek Voyager actor friend. Hello, Chef Zilla. So, if you guys are just joining us, go to the link I'm going to share again. It's theimmortalmask.com. And we are talking to the creator, Denali, and we're talking to George Peter Gatsis, our world-renowned authority on comics.
I saw a question from Axnart. So I wrote the story concept, and I hired multiple artists throughout the world to deliver this project. So, everything comes from my mind, and I have other people translate the visual aspect for it. So there you go.
And great. And the topic tonight is the Immortal Mask, guys. And that is the project that's being launched this past week by Denali. And I'm putting that again into. And if you guys are just joining us, please go to theimmortalmask.com and hold on. And this is what you're going to see when you get to theimmortalmask.com. And you scroll down to the bottom and make sure you register to get on Denali's mailing list. And you will receive what kind of propaganda are they exposed to, Denali, when they register?
Well, they'll register to the newsletter. Every time I launch a newsletter, I'll give an update and exclusive image of the upcoming book, The Immortal Mask. And down the line, as we get closer, if I offer discounts and exclusives, with it, those who are signed up are automatically eligible for that, especially with the campaign. So if you use the same email as you sign up for the campaign, I'll be able to find it out and connect it and say, hey, you sign up, give them the discount, give them the exclusive. It doesn't hurt, and you get news directly to your email.
Wow, awesome, amazing. So Denali, when now is the hero also into martial arts as you are?
Yeah. We would say, we'll just leave it like that.
Okay.
Read and find out. Ruffle that.
Gotcha. Okay, great. So now, George, you know a little bit more about this project because you guys are close.
And not really, because I just found out the guy's a black belt.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, I know you don't want to divulge too much, but I gotta ask, how does this guy's invisibility or shadow hiding in the shadows? How does that ability work for the Immortal Mask? What can you tell us?
Well, it's a power that's tied to the mask itself. It's a manipulation of the shadows around him. And I'll leave it at that. There's really no good word to describe the visuals that you'll see from it. And it's kind of hard. I can now sympathize with other creators when they're asking those questions. It's like how much to tell and how much not to tell kind of deal. So
let me ask you this: I understand it's completely understandable for a launch of a project of this magnitude. Now, would you consider this an origin story as well?
Yes, this would be an origin story for this Immortal Mask. And we will see his story throughout. So we're following this Immortal Mask through his journey. And it's going to be a lot of twists and turns and unexpected surprises that, you'll say, what? It's like I said, it's going to be mind-boggling. It's going to be fantastic. Everybody's going to be, you stick with this project, you won't know what hit you. It's going to be
wow.
Yeah.
So the content. So there's not going to be any Mickey Mouse storyline. This is going to be quality content that you're putting out.
Oh yes, I'm writing like if I was buying the book, and I have standards for the books. I kind of got tired of the stories that been being presented to the point that, if you can't find the stories that you want, like everything else, like a enterprising person, you go out and build it yourself. There wasn't a airplane, so the writers went out and built an aircrafts out of their bikes. There wasn't a computer. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak went and built one out of their garage, as legends say. And here I am, I'm not satisfied with the current media and what the companies are giving out. So I'm moving from a consumer to a producer, and I'm telling the stories that, I grew up with. I hesitant to say it, but I would say that I'm a student of cinema because I grew up with, watching George Lucas, watching Steven Spielberg, watching Stanley Kubrick, watching the greats from the 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s, watching, what works, what doesn't work, and, distilling it into the comic book as well. this is classical stuff, back from the day that works. These are the hero journey. This is Campbell, Hero of a Thousand Faces kind of deals. And I'm distilling that the same process that George Lucas did with Star Wars, the same process that all these stories come up with. I'm doing the same process for the Immortal Mask. And I see a question: has Denali had any mainstream artists or any mainstream comic book company approach you about your book and character? Well, I've been hushed about that. So to answer that, I can't say NDA, unfortunately.
So I don't know if this is a comment regarding your you being under the radar until now.
Yes.
Hello, Eric.
Yes, I'm alive. Yeah. I usually hang out with another stream of guys on FanSpeak, and unfortunately, I was busy with my primary job, so I had to give up on that for a wee bit while I worked on this project and maintain my daytime job as well. So 16-hour day kind of hurts.
Just to be clear, guys, Denali's real job, his other real job, like he says, is fighting crime in the streets of Atlanta.
Yeah,
I'm sure. But if he did, he wouldn't tell us, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
Great. Now let's take a look at the this website. I go to the if I go to the about.
All right. There's my mission statement.
Okay.
Basically, this is what I'm striving for. So if anybody ever has a question, Denali, what are you about? What is your company Denali's about? And what is your comic and brands about? They can always go to the about page. It's simple. It's easy. I'm not a cookie cutter operation. I pride ourselves in providing high level of personal attention to detail and customer service. My objectives for my brand as Denali Comics and Denali's, and personally myself, is to produce a quality books, to provide exceptional customer service, to help support the independent comic book community, and to develop world-class brands with talented creators. So, simple. Those are the standards that I uphold for, Now,
one thing you said, that the attention to detail for me has been really absent in some of the sci-fi we've been experiencing as of late.
Yes.
And I think that's very important that you put that into your mission statement.
Yep. I had a back and forth with my artists about, what type of material the clothing are, what type of, lighting, the steps, the weight, because I know if people want to cosplay, I can give them a detail, say, this is what they wear, this is what they have, this is what they, you need for your costume.
I just want to bring on, say hello to Fatal J. Hello, Fatal, Denali, and George.
PJ, what is going on? It's been a long freaking time.
Greetings.
I mean, we talk every day, but
I know we talk every day, but
And how are you doing, my friends? Mr. George, we've been talking. And my friend right here, I've been seeing your comic floating around. PJ been promoting.
Yeah, what do you think about this cover Denali has, Fatal?
It's sick. It's like a little computerization going on. I like it.
Oh, thanks.
Now, let me know, because I'm interested. I love characters that wear masks. What's going on with the Immortal Mask?
Well, the Immortal Mask is a superhero based in Atlanta, and he can manipulate shadows, fade into the darkness, this is what you're kind of seeing mid effect of him blending into the background. Or opposite, he can be fading out and you're seeing him step out of the shadows about to fight some bad guys.
Dang, he gonna mess some freakers up, man. He
Yeah.
can blend in with the darkness and shadows.
Yep.
Dang.
Oh, it's
What
going to
can
be a
stop
while.
him? Do he have any weaknesses?
Yeah. So like shadow, the more light there is, the less shadow there is. So as you can see, where the light is striking him, you see that the shadows are fading away. So part of his weakness is he has to be mindful about the light source. The light source will be affecting him. So, you shine a flashlight right where he is, the mystique will disperse, so to speak.
I'm digging this artwork. It's really amazing.
I'm digging that too. But that reminds me, you familiar with Top Cow Comics?
Yep.
You familiar with a character called Jackie Estacado?
I believe so. Yep, the darkness.
Yeah, that kind of remind me of darkness. But I always love characters who their power relates to the darkness. I like that.
Yep.
I like that too.
So, yeah, there's something instinctual about hiding in the darkness, not knowing, letting your imagination kind of run wild with it. So
yeah, and think about this. You got grown men scared of the dark. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That don't stop it being a kid. The kid can always say, yeah, I need a nightlight. But you have grown up scared of the dark, man. I got an auntie right now. When she go to bed, her TV is always on. I can't go to sleep with the TV freaking on. All that light on me.
Right.
I can't do that.
No, that disrupts, sleeping patterns and everything. It has to be complete darkness.
And then what if it's something good on? You gonna watch it. You're gonna be like half asleep, but you're gonna watch it.
Right. You won't remember in the morning, but you'll watch it.
Yeah.
Now, Denali, this question from Stephen Klein. I assume because you've been hush hush about things until now, you haven't been going to Comic Cons and stuff.
Correct. So that might be in the works, but with everything that's going on, maybe it's not a good idea. So we'll see how the world events turns out. Maybe it's good just to talk it through online, less way to have any further health concerns at the present moment.
Well, I'm sure by the time the summer cons come around, we'll be out of there.
Yeah, I'm hoping so as well. It will be interesting to go to a Comic-Con and promote comics.
Now, Fatal, you're a creator too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Now, yes, Fatal's hush hush too, I think.
I'm hush hush. I'm gonna drop it like a nuclear bomb. One of these weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. But yeah, I'm really
weeks from now.
Yeah, because I got to get things colored and inked. And PJ, I've been dropping you with the exclusive, so
I know, but I'm like blown away that you're going to do it in like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, well,
no, not the whole thing, not the whole shebang. I'm still working on the whole shebang.
Okay.
But the cover is the first thing people see. So I'm trying to really freak that cover so people will be like, yeah, I got to get that. So what I'm saying is in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to drop the cover on everybody.
Wow. Well, yeah, we definitely want the exclusive on that.
now, Mr. D, yes. I want to know this from you. That's very interesting that you said that you're not into doing the Comic Cons. Why is that? Because I've thought about going and promoting, but I think the booths are expensive, right?
Sorry,
the booths. B-O-O-H.
The booth, yeah. No, it's not really that. It's a lot of that. The Comic Cons have turned into a comic culture than actually Comic Con, and a lot of creators have been saying that. And this is more. I think this is more for the bigger Comic Cons instead of the smaller Comic Cons. But for the bigger ones, they're more comic culture than they are promoting comics. And that's one of the reasons why it doesn't really behoove me to go to the Comic Cons, because talking to you guys like this, I'm already doing a Comic Con, right here. This is my Comic Con, talking to you directly. You're asking me the same question if I had gone to a Comic Con, and you're doing it at the comfort of your own home instead of
Bro, that makes perfect sense though.
Yeah.
And it makes absolutely perfect sense, because the comic game is totally different now. The comics are based on the movies. Back in the day, it used to be the movies was based on the comics. Now the comics is emulating everything that's going on the silver screen.
Right.
So I can definitely understand where you're coming from. Comic-Con is everything except comics.
Yeah.
Cosplay, dropping new trailers, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So, and that's one of the things I try to break the mold. I don't follow the path of other people as the way it's done. I do follow what the essence of what came before me, because I remember it and I said this is what my benchmark, but I do follow my own trail and my own vision to get to where I want. This, like I said, I see everything in a different perception. This is like Troy is writing. This is Comic-Con for us. When you go to our channel, you are talking to the creator directly. You are getting the thoughts directly. Comic-Con was for a time when we didn't have that communication before, and we can share more widely our work throughout the whole thing than if we've gone to the booths, because you're localized. Now there's some prestigeness in there for going there, but otherwise, no, I consider this Comic-Con right now. We are ongoing 24/7 Comic-Con as YouTubers. This is our Comic-Con.
Yeah, man, because you could do some amazing things with the internet. Back in the day, you couldn't do that. Can I ask you a question though?
Sure.
Who are your influences in the comic world?
Well, we'll start with the obvious, which is Stan Lee. You have Chris Claremont.
You know what's crazy? Let me say something real quick. For the longest, I didn't know Stan Lee couldn't draw.
No, he didn't know. He was just a writer.
He was just a writer.
Yeah, he was a writer.
Because until I saw him do he did a Spider-Man sketch.
Yeah.
And I thought he was just being funny. He did basically a stick figure of Spider-Man. I thought he was joking. And they said he can't draw. And that blew my mind.
Right. That's why he worked with all these talented artists, John Romano Sr., Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby, the king.
Yeah.
The king.
All right. I'm going to have to interrupt here for a moment. DINALE, I'm going to tell you the truth. He's being very, very humble right now. His influence, Alex Raymond, Al Williamson, Eisner, Woody.
Okay.
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 Those guys are his influence. I'll tell you why those guys are his influence, because he keeps telling me, George, go back and do this again, because I want it in that vein, in that manner. I'm going like, for crying out loud, you got enough of this. No, I want you to go back. I want you to fix it. I want that inspiration. I'm going like, for crying out loud.
Okay.
I've been having this back and forth with him for such a long time. It's ridiculous.
Right.
And I'm just taking this opportunity to say hi.
That's my producer consultant trying to translate what I want to the artist that's working under me. Artists that are working under me. But yeah, no, those are my influence. The Raymond, Alex Raymond, back. Those
See, you saying a lot of old school names.
Old school names. So if it's deep cuts. So
well, see, I'm kind of 90s. I'm a 90s dude. So my rock stars are the 90 guys like Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, and I'm supposed to say it, Rob Liefeld. I like Rob Liefeld.
Right.
You know,
which is, more power to you guys. I enjoy their work as well. I have their 90 comics when they came out. I picked up The Darkness, as you mentioned earlier. Silver, I think it's Silverhawks, I believe. Shadowhawks.
Shadowhawk. Yeah.
Shadowhawks. There you go.
That's
I'm thinking of Silver.
as Jim Valentine, I believe. I could be mistaken.
And he's the one who did the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Not the version that the movie did, but the actual, far in the future Guardians of the Galaxy version that they had to reboot afterwards. But I'm old. This project, it's old school because they are the masters. These are the master that your guys are following in the footsteps. So why follow on their footsteps when I can go directly to the masters and learn from them and pick up what they have? So
DINALE, now is Immortal Mask going to turn into a YouTube channel as well?
Well, that's to be determined. We have a lot of plans for the Immortal Mask, so a lot of things I can't say right now, but I do have DINALE's comic YouTube channel, so if people want to subscribe there, hopefully I can get 100 subscribers so I can update the URL and actually put it as DINALE Comics instead of having that goobly gabbly stuff at the end of it. Make it easier for people.
DINALE, can you put that to me in the private chat so I can share it?
Sure.
Thanks.
If I took that mask off and put it on my head, would I have those powers, or is more to it than that?
Oh, that's a sneaky question.
Yeah, that's a very sneaky question. And what's funny? I do address that question in some of the later stories, so you got to read and find out.
Okay then, touche. Touche.
Hello, Pastor G. Hello, Captain Trek. Hello, Joe Lau. Hello to everybody who's been coming in here. Hello, Padawan. Hello, Troy. Hello, Chefzilla. Hello, Chief Cook. Hello, everybody. Kapla to everybody.
And Sonora Comics, what up, sir?
Yeah.
PJ.
Hey.
I'm gonna drop out for like 5 minutes and then I'm gonna drop right back in, okay?
Hey man, this is your home. Do whatever you want.
My computer doing something a little funky, so I'll have to fix it. I'm gonna get the hammer. I'm gonna get the hammer and I'll be right back.
There you go. So while Fatal J is fixing his computer the way the Fonzie fixed the jukebox.
Yeah.
For those of you who are old enough to remember that, what I'm talking about.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm not old enough for that, but I know what you're talking about. Syndication. Gotta love it.
Yeah, syndication. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Yeah, that was a while ago. Now what I know this is not, I know this is early to ask this question, but do you foresee in this universe that you're creating for the Immortal Mask, do you foresee any spin-offs, any branching offs into other superheroes, for example? George told me to press you, so
okay, I'll answer for him because the answer is yes.
Yes.
That's it.
Oh wow!
He can't say. DINALE can't speak any more of this because I'm telling you right now, this very question it's bubbling. And it's like a volcano ready to erupt. He just wants to tell you how awesome the characters who have grown out of his main story have developed a characteristic of their own, adventures of their own. And in some cases, it's so mind-boggling, incredible. You could just say, wait a minute, am I reading the Mask story or am I reading this other character story? Who's the main character here? Because this is how good the secondary characters are. And it's just incredible.
Wow.
Sometimes when he calls me up, he says, "Look, we haven't talked in about a week or 2 weeks, blah blah blah. Yeah, let me tell you something." And then he goes through and tells me what the character is and what they're doing and stuff like that. And sometimes I just couldn't stop laughing. I mean, we have to actually stop, take a breath for like 5-10 minutes, and then
we laughed for like about 30 minutes. One of the characters is so fun. It just flows. It just flows.
The story of the character is funny. The concept of the character is funny. If you're even mentioned the concept of the character, you'll have a preset in your mind to laugh whenever you talk about this character. I mean, it's that good, and I have a hard time. Me personally, from my experiences, I have a hard time referencing anything that's happened before at this level. It's really hard. It took me a long time to even find a reference. And did I find a reference? No, I haven't. This is so novel in its execution, and it just dumbfounded me. It set my mind. It's set my mind to a new level of production work. And whenever DINALE calls me up, says, "Okay, this is what I'm doing with this artist, and this is what I'm doing with that artist. What do you think? How should I approach this? This is the work that's come in. What are your thoughts?" And I would give him my thoughts based on my experiences and how to deal with multiple artists that I have dealt with for the last 30 years in art, marketing, advertising, in comic book production, animation, everything. And every time he comes back to me, it's like, here's the new stuff.
Guys,
PJ, before you say something, George, I hate to say this, man, but you got the sexiest voice I've heard in a long time.
Well, you just keep saying that. Don't stop.
No, man, I said that before. Well, guess what? I'm saying it again, man.
Okay, well, I'll give you 70 years to stop that, all right?
You know what? When you talk, I'm telling you, when you talk, I want to dim the lights, turn the candle on, flick it on, pull out the wine, and just, listen to that soothing voice, man.
Honey, is that you? What are you doing on the internet? I thought you were.
Get some Barry White in the background.
That's what I'm saying. Give me that Barry White vibe, Oh, baby, my darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby.
I want to translate for the audience to everything George was saying. Basically, knowing these two guys, I think that translates into amazing innovation and intricate storytelling. And I think that's amazing. And I know you guys don't want to get into it, but for all of you guys who are just joining us, I just asked. There's a couple of people just joining in. I just asked DINALE if the universe he's creating is going to involve branching off into other superheroes and making a larger universe. And even though he can't answer that question, and him and George kind of have answered that question in a very subtle way. So very exciting, very, very exciting, guys. Hello, Tyrone Beard. Hello, Loki. Hello, Stephen Klein. Chef Silla. So, we're not going to press you too much on creating the larger universe since you guys are just getting started with, or DINALE's just getting started. I know, I keep saying you guys because I know George masterminds and brainstorms with DINALE sometimes, but DINALE is the...
No, my involvement in this is strictly third party. If I ever see DINALE slack off, or he's writing the story and it's already become he's too comfortable, everything is, there's no stress, there's no anxiety in the story, there's no challenge to the character because everything's working. I would say to him, what are you doing? Where's the challenge? You're telling me he's just going to walk through all these bad guys and get to the other side of the room? Come on,
Yeah, but then
stick
he sees the giant bad guy at the end of the room that punches him back into the room, and then we started. Then he's like, oh, then he said, you're just too wordy. Cut that 30 pages out. I said, fine.
Yeah, I always ask the question: Is this necessary? Do you need this? This dialogue, is it important? Can you cut this dialogue out? I have no idea what he's doing. All I'm asking is just a question, just to keep him basically on track. I go, how necessary is this dialogue? How necessary is this action? Is this character that he's meeting necessary to the overall story that you're pushing forward? Have you broken the narrative at this point? I'm just asking the questions because me personally, I have no freaking idea. Every time he comes back to me, it's like watching a brand new movie or happening before my eyes. And you know what really upsets me is that I have to think of it in a technical sense. I can't even sit back and enjoy it. I haven't had that luxury yet. And I know it's awesome. I just haven't had that luxury. Every single time, it's like, what do you think about this, George? Well, I'm pretty sure, there's no gravity on Earth.
Those are good questions, though, man.
Those are the kind of questions that I've grown up with. When I've been doing script doctor work for other people, I would sit there and say straight out, oh, you've written the story and you got 3 main characters or 4 main characters in your story. Oh, that's cute. Can you kill one of those characters and spread the dialogue over to the other 3? Because
I like that though.
It will make the story more personal,
But you're a coach. To me, that's like my teacher back in elementary. Does it have a main idea? Does it have a theme?
Exactly.
Did you write long enough? Did you write? You know what I mean?
George is
like
a coach.
That.
Exactly. Yeah, he is a coach.
Most of the time is, you're rambling. Cut it. So that's basically what the question is. It's like rambling, and how can you do it better?
And then you got to think too. And this is how I'm thinking when I'm writing my stuff. Okay, the comic book reader is not a novel reader.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, yes. All that dialogue on a page, for crying out loud, cut it out.
That's what I'm saying. If you got too much dialogue, they'll give the book a bad rating. Right. I know I read some potentially dope comic books, but the dialogue, I saw the dialogue on both pages and I was like, freak this. I'm not reading all this.
Oh yeah, what about how about all the dialogue? And okay, what's the scene? Say Superman's punching Batman. It's a moment that happens in time, just a few seconds, but there's enough dialogue there to last a few minutes. How do these guys communicate with so much dialogue?
See,
doing that 1 second punch. It's
the one. What I'm imagining is they're going. That's how they're talking. That's how I imagine them in that 1 second. They're using dog whistles.
Look here. But Superman and Batman fighting, the only dialogue you need is
yeah.
Get off me. That's all you need.
Martha.
A lot of people give that movie a lot of slack for that. I mean, a lot of criticism about that. I am the only man on planet Earth who thought that Martha line was genius. Sue me. Sue me.
I just think they're making more fun.
Unsubscribe to Fatal's channel, guys.
Please do. Hey, if you like bow-legged midget strippers, make sure you subscribe to my channel. That's what I'm all about.
And I will put Fatal's channel all about midget strippers on the in the chat.
Yeah, I'm coming out with a documentary soon.
So little people strippers. Now,
did we play that little trailer?
No. Speaking of trailers, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. And 1 second.
My friend in the chat, how you say her name? ALYSSIA? Is that ALYSSIA? She said too much drawing is equally bad too. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, you have a page that's McFarlane Line Armageddon, and you're trying to say that the superhero it just shaved in the bathroom mirror. Yeah, I think there's too much line work.
Okay.
There's a nice ratio, and I think the best example of that ratios were in the 70s comics, where you see that there's a nice ratio between how much dialogue there is and how much artwork there is. And if you see what transitioning beforehand, which was in the 60s, was too much dialogue and not enough art, compared to the late 80s and 90, which was too much art and not enough dialogue. So I think it's very important to have a nice balance between the art and the dialogue that you're going to be presenting, because people are reading comic books, but they want to get the dialogue. They want to get the gist. What are you saying and what is the action? They don't want to be reading, like you guys mentioned, exposition that blah 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 blah. They just want to say blah blah blah. Here's what I said. Here's what he said. Next page.
Hey, I want to ask a question. I'm totally out the loop.
Mhm.
Please don't get offended. How are you raising funds for this comic? Or are you going through George? And of course, it got quiet when I said that.
And it's all his cash in this. I have no ownership in this property whatsoever. All contracts. I can, confidentiality. Other than that, every last thought and art and that is produced is 100% ownership of Mr. DINALE here.
Yeah. So
No, but what I'm saying is this. I'm not speaking on contracts, none of that stuff. I'm just speaking, is this coming out your pocket? Is this crowdfunding, or is this coming out under somebody?
Oh, it'll be crowdfunded from DINALE.
Sorry, it took me I was trying to understand what you were asking. Like the word, how you phrased the question was kind of.
It was all over the place because I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I was trying to catch. It's like trying to go ninja, catch the fly.
Man.
I'm like, okay, yeah, it's crowdfunding.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, he's a black belt. He's a black belt fatal. I don't know if you heard me say that before.
Well, I stopped when I was a brown belt in Taekwondo.
Nice.
So when I talk kung fu stuff or ninja stuff, I really live this stuff.
Yep.
I mean, I enjoy kung fu, ninja, samurai. My bucket list.
Also, did you say you're Taekwondo?
Yeah.
What are you?
Taekwondo, black belt.
Yeah, I'm Hamkido.
Yep.
Well, look, PJ, you see what you did?
Hey, like great minds think alike. I once, one of the first times I saw Fatal, by the way, on streaming, he was dressed up like a ninja on his stream. I thought I didn't realize it was a ninja at first. I was like, what is this guy doing? He looks like he's gonna go rob a house.
Well, that's funny you said that, because I use that same mask. I used to have a live stream and people loved it too, called hijacking streams. And I used to put the mask on, and while people was actually going live, I would jump into their live and make them look at my live at the same time. So we both looking at each other live streams, and I will hold up a fake gun with the ski mask on, and I will hold up a paper to the camera and say, "You've been robbed. I'm robbing you for your topics." And once they give me their topics, I go back and go back to my channel. One person that I robbed a big channel, Mecha Random. I robbed her. And everybody wants me to do that again, but I'm gonna tell you, in all honesty, that's a lot of work doing that. I might do it one day. I don't know. Maybe a year anniversary of my channel or something. I don't know. But
wow. Oh my gosh, a black ninja. Who would have thought?
Wow. So guys, so this is, we're gonna play the short trailer, and here we're seeing is this is not the same image from the cover, right? It's a little different.
Yeah, this is specifically for the video. The impression is the feel is basically I want to reproduce what happened on the cover in video format. So this is why you don't see all the wonderful embellishments that appear on the cover.
Oh, so you did this animation, George?
Yeah.
Okay.
I animated the cover.
Okay. That's a very short clip, but we're gonna play it. Okay, here we go. Very cool. Very cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like to call
like
it the
that too.
teaser trailer. To the trailer.
Set it on loop, PJ, and let it play a couple of times.
Yeah, because I want to read that title.
I cannot set it on loop for this.
There is no rest for the immortal mask. You guys let me know if y'all want me to do that for that video. There is no rest for the immortal mask.
I like that. I like that, Fiddle. So very, very cool, guys. I like and I like the way, yeah, I like at the end too, the way these there we go. Is this looped? So yeah, it looks great. Oh, this is obviously a clip that's going to be really good on Twitter, for example, on social media.
This will be uploaded after the show on DINALE's YouTube channel. Yeah, we wanted to premiere it here first.
And I believe you're muted, PJ, if you're talking.
And this is DINALE's YouTube channel. Thank you, guys. Thanks, DINALE.
Thank you.
I keep muting myself because I got fatal. I got my allergies already and I got sniffles. So I'm going to be like this for like 2 months. So if anybody out there wants to unsub me, do it now.
That's the story of my life. I went to the doctor when I was a little kid, and he said I have the worst allergy and sinuses known to man.
Really?
I've been there. I lived this life. My sense of smell might as well be gone. And the weird thing is, I must be getting punished from the heavens because the only things I can smell is something that smells absolutely terrible.
Really?
That's sad, ain't it?
Yeah, you know.
Did you get?
You could just pour some quick dry cement up the nostrils, and they'll take care of the situation.
And then they will call that murder, sir. You trying to murder me?
No. I'm just saying, just in the sinus area. That's all.
Yeah.
Did you end up taking an allergy vaccine, Fatal?
Yeah, I did the shots. They didn't work. I'm gonna tell you one thing that actually worked, and for a few weeks I could smell everything. You'll never believe what I'm about to tell you. You ready?
Yeah.
Turmeric.
Oh yeah. Did you get it from InfoWars?
Huh?
Did you get it from InfoWars?
No, I don't believe in Alice Jones. He's weird. You watch InfoWars?
No, the moment you mentioned turmeric, I'm going like, I heard about that strange substance. Where did I hear it from?
No, I was doing research on how it could smell. People with allergies and sinuses so bad they can't smell, and what came up is turmeric, because turmeric is a what they call it what you call it? There's something takes away inflammation from your body.
Yeah, anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what turmeric is. But I mean, it was working for me for like a month, and then all of a sudden it stopped. It stopped working. So I guess the doctor was right. I got the worst sinuses and allergies known to man.
Wow. I love the lettering, George, at the end. It's a really good clip. By the way, if anybody doesn't know this, George is a master of doing these animations. So if anybody needs help, George's help, please reach out to him. And you obviously all know George, but I'm going to put his Twitter up on here too. And guys, by the way, everybody subscribe to Fatal J and to DINALE. and to George Peter Gatsis. Just to remind everybody, tomorrow again, George is giving us something really special. Alan Dean Foster and Robert Meyer Burnett on George's channel tomorrow. So I'm going to put George's link up again. Please sub to George as well, guys. Now, so what's the next step, DINALE, in all this? What's your next step in your launching journey, in your path to launching, for full launch?
Full launch. Well, pretty much is building that hype for the Immortal Mask. Looking at the metrics, and once we reach a certain threshold, then we'll start talking about the campaign and launching the campaign as well. I believe we'll be doing, we're still doing stuff in the backgrounds and still working some technicalities about the project, but most of it is, everything is running the way it's supposed to at the same time. So it's just smooth sailing and just building that awareness. And once we get that critical awareness that we need for the Immortal Mask, then I think we're good, in a good space, headspace to go with the crowdfunding campaign.
And I'd like to add, there's going to be more great key art that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks to a month. That's just going to impress big time. Yeah. This first cover is just a sampler. The artwork that's being developed right now is absolutely spectacular, and I saw a sample, just a rough sample of one of the paintings, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And when that baby actually shows up, we like to come back here on Orville Nation and show it off and premiere. It's going to blow people's minds. The quality that this guy is pushing his artists for is absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, we want updates, as many as you can give us, because we're all going to be hooked on this now, and as many updates as you can give us, that'd be great, DINALE.
Yep, and the best way to get it first is getting on that newsletter at theimmortalmask.com or at dinales.com. Either or, links will direct you to the same page.
Yeah, I'm going to post that again. And while I post that again, DINALE, can you give us? I just wanted to ask the slogan. Well, the slogan. There is no rest for the Immortal Mask. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, we were thinking, and I mean where I was thinking about every superhero had a slogan: the Incredible Hulk, the Amazing Spider-Man, the fantastic, the Amazing Adventures of Tintin or something like that. So the Immortal Mask, the concept started building as I was developing it. He's somebody that doesn't stop, that he will continue going, and because he's immortal, in the Immortal, as the story will show, that it will continue on. So him fighting the villains, the long defeat, if anybody knows the concept, the long defeat, where basically you're always going to fight the good fight, even if at the end you're going to be defeated. That's the thought that they have about evil and good, that evil will prevail at the end, but I'm never ascribed to that. But the concept of the long defeat is that you're going to keep fighting until the bitter end. So there's never going to be a time for rest. And that's where it kind of came out. It's like, there's no rest for the Immortal Mask. And it just came out like that. Simple like that.
Sorry, Fatal, for covering you. I'm sorry. Just this question for Pastor G. What is the age range of these comics? Would my 13-year-old, my 11-year-old be interested in them?
Yes. Actually, I showed the cover to that age range, and they were flabbergasted. They said, "Keep telling me about the Immortal Mask." So the 11-year-old.
Your own pastor. You told me that your
Yeah.
own pastor was absolutely thrilled about this.
Right. 3 generation, his grandson, his son, and himself were interested in, I showed them some of the artwork and they were hooked like and sinker. So this is a generational thing. And that's what I've been trying to push forward. Why I'm going back to the old school ways, to the, Alex Raymond way, because whether you are a child or adult, you can find things for you. And in this comic book, it's for, I want to say family. It's a family comic book in the sense of that traditional way. It's not like it's a rated G movie kind of deal, but it's actually you watch together as a family and everybody gets something out of it.
Now, DINALE is that's fabulous. That's fantastic. I want to ask you before I forget. In the Immortal, in the artwork, that's a hint of the mask, right?
Right.
Okay, that's great. I love that.
Also, I want to add something that's the other thing that DINALE didn't actually hint on is that when he says there's no rest for the Immortal Mask, the double meaning from what DINALE said. The other thing is that DINALE has technically timed out every story, so he knows in real time how long it takes for a character and for a scene to happen, and he writes to that.
Right.
In fact, he timed out everything to such a degree. At one point, when he was brainstorming and formulating thoughts, he literally looked at the time readout for a series of books, and he said, "This guy's not getting a rest at all."
Yeah. But it works at that level as well. So, and that's something that goes back to what I was promoting as one of my core objectives and mission statement: attention to detail. So there is no risk. There's no rest for the Immortal Mask.
This is a good question, gentlemen. How old is the Immortal Mask itself? And okay, I thought he was talking about the character, but I guess he's talking about the project. What? How old is the character?
Now it seems like he's talking about the character. He talking about the actual mask, I guess. How old is the Immortal Mask itself? Like, how old is the mask?
Yeah.
When was it created? How many people have worn it?
Well, I can tell you that because DINALE will go
into
such a long explanation. I'll make it short.
Okay.
He's mapped out several thousand years on this whole concept in high detail. So when there's a particular story element or there's a future story element, there's a rich backdrop of history that he's able to pull out, and as you're reading it, the more history that they're pulling out and bringing it into the immediate scenario, immediate action, the more real it feels. It's ridiculous. It's mind blowing. So at one point, I said, "Can you put this freaking thing in an Excel document?" And he did. It took me 5 minutes to open up the Excel document.
So will we see Immortal Mask, like the origin of the mask, or we only have a brief synopsis of where the mask came from?
That story has been planned out, so it's going to be a future story. So stay tuned, as one would say.
Like since you said it's thousands of years old or thousands of years old, we might see like a caveman wearing the Immortal Mask.
Well, it's way back when.
Okay, I don't want to give too much of your story.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, especially for comics that take place in the New World. We have less history here, and It's very interesting. You're talking about a concept of thousands of years old. Very interesting. Chef Zilla has another question. No Rest, is the Immortal mask undead, like Eric Draven, or is this like Loki's mask from the mask? Is he an undead?
No, he's a live human. But we'll get a lot of those questions will be answered in the comic book itself. So read and find out kind of deal. Same thing with this question. Yeah, is the mask worn by female or male? This one particular that we have is male. I can straight up say that one.
So the mask is gender specific?
No. He's asking, is the mask worn by female or male?
Oh,
in this one, it's
in this one, okay.
Yeah. So
great questions, chat.
Yeah.
Any other? By the way, any? I guess Adega might have just stepped away for a second. What age is this for? Can you tell us? Again? Age groups.
Yeah, age group. It's basically everything for the family. You don't have to be age. I think the minimum would be like about 9-year-old, all the way up to an old man. If you enjoy comics, you will enjoy comics.
Okay, cool.
And does it get passed down from generation to generation, or was it created in today's world at a lab? I would say read and find out for that one.
I got a question.
Sure.
When it comes to promotional behind this comic, are you doing anything promotional? For example, like posters or trading cards or something along those lines? Or are you just giving a straight comic?
We are looking at posters and trading cards for that. I guess I should announce it as well as an exclusive, but we also are planning a board game with this comic book. And this board game is going to be fantastic because
very interesting.
It'll add a lot of more details and questions and trivias in there. So it's going to be a fantastic addition to this project as well. So a lot of things is being planned, a lot of ideas. If you think it, we have already thought it. Is this comic going to be merged with some real backdrops going off the picture now? Could be a real cool idea if the art was merged that way. Well, mums is the word, one would say.
I need to ask you this question, guys. Sure. And I know George. DINALE has a team that's working on this, but George, I know George is more technically knowledgeable. Can either of you guys talk to us a little bit about the imagery we're seeing? It all looks very realistic as far as technique for artistry.
I'll break it down in a very succinct manner. This whole production is being developed in layers. So when the artwork or the references are handed off to the pencil, the rough pencil layouts are handed to one artist, and the layout, the pencil layouts or the tight pencil layouts or the tight concepts are handed off to another artist who's the painter. We say, okay, here's the concept, here's the references, here, and give us that awesome polish. And in this case, the painter was given a bunch of references, including photographs, and when he came back with the individual elements, it got polished and developed to a point where what we see. It's a hybrid between photography and artistic expression to a point where you can consider this entire book to be high quality, high rendered storyboards of such quality that this entire book, when it comes out, you're going to want it on your coffee table, not on the shelf.
Wow.
That's the kind of book that this is going to be, and the way DINALE has crafted this story is that when a producer in Hollywood actually picks this up, they will be able to quickly and instantaneously come to the conclusion, yes, this project can be produced at a very efficient budget. There's nothing. It's not like a Endgame or Infinity War type situations where you're going to be spending hundreds of millions of dollars to produce this. No, this entire story can be produced on a TV budget and presented in the theaters as a Hollywood blockbuster. That's how great the way he crafted the story, the way the production it can be produced, and the visuals, how they're put together in such a way that anyone from an experience to a novice will look at it and get it and say, yeah, there's no ambiguity here.
Okay, Mr. George, be quiet. Take my money now.
I direct you over to DINALE.
You're a good salesman. You sold me.
Awesome.
Nah, it sounds good though. It really does.
Yeah. By the way, guys, anybody who George's expertise in this, apart from having 30 years in the comic book industry, he knows all about this stuff. Any creators out there looking to feel this work should get in touch with either DINALE's team or George Peter GATSIS. And can you feel this question? We've answered this, but can you feel this question, DINALE?
Hello, Echo Base Network.
Echo. Hello, Echo.
Echoes, mini echoes. Right now, we're going to be moving forward with crowdfunding, but depending on how much the demand is and how it goes, we may be looking into the future about having that available on the website as well. But we will see, how the reaction is after all the campaigns and all that stuff happens. So a lot of stuff we're talking about, working behind the scenes and kind of measuring how the response is. If it's a very positive response and overwhelming response, and that will be definitely, part of the agenda right there. Never say no. Go ahead.
No, so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to know from talking to the veterans. I'm a rookie right now. What is the best way to promote your comic book? What is the best way? You guys know. I know, Mr. George. I know you know. Give up your secrets tonight. We want to know.
The secret is knowing what your audience is, and basically coming into the channel like the Orville Nations and figuring out what is that excite people. The reaction that you're saying this is dope and this is awesome, and the reaction is positive, showing that I'm heading the right direction, that I'm giving you guys, the customers, what you want. And that's been my job, and that's my job to you guys, is giving you what you guys want. And when you go out there and you're promoting, saying, okay, this is the product that I have, this is the comic book, this is what I'm giving you, here's my expectations to you, does this excite you enough for you to buy it? And and if it is, I'll do my 110% to give you the most awesome project that you will have. That it's not just the way I told George is, I don't want to just sell you a product. I want to sell you an experience. I want the Immortal Mask to be an experience. When you're selling you don't want to say, here's my comic book, here's my experience. I want to sell you my experience. And anybody who's listening, here's my experience.
Yeah, that's what I tell people too. Like when I show people what I got so far, I don't know. I'm telling the truth when I say it, but I say this has been in my head for 10 years. And I want to let the world know what's been in my head for 10 years.
Well, and that's the thing. It's, you gotta show what visual. That's the same. Here's end of the story from way back, and I'll use George Lucas. George Lucas, when he was talking about Star Wars the first time, nobody knew what he was talking about. So he goes to a chap named Ralph McQuarrie, and he has some commissioned works. He takes those commissioned works of art, and he goes to the executive at Fox, and he presents, this is what I'm planning. Here's the story. Here's the setting.
That's awesome.
What's going on. And they said, okay, George, we believe enough of what you know what you sound like you know what you're doing. You showed us what it would look like.
He put out passion with proof.
Exactly. And that's
that's what I do, because sometimes I get on like YouTube and look at documentaries of comic book artists or comic book writers, and I always focus on what they did in the beginning. Because if I know what they did in the beginning, then I can crack the code on what I want in my world. You know?
Right. Basically, you have to know what you are aiming for. What is your creative end goal for it?
That's a good question. That's a good question you just said, because I wanted to ask you this. What is your goal with this comic book? And I hope I'm not putting you on the spot.
My goal is bringing back the comic books that I love, the comic books that, inspired me and will hopefully inspire other people to say, hey, I can do this. And I am in love with this comic book, the same love that people put on for Superman and the DC and Marvel characters, the same things for those characters. I want that end goal to be the same thing. The same passion that Star Wars people had, the same passion that people are showing for the Orville and these other franchises, because these are hobbies, these are interests that connects people together in community. I want that the Immortal Mask to be a community connection, that when you're talking to somebody who knows about the Immortal Mask and geeking out on them and saying, hey, did you know the Immortal Mask in 1952 went on this, blah, 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 et cetera, detail. Yeah. Did you know about this? And having that conversation and building that community. And that's what I look for to the end as well, and I want to make it as big, as wide. I want to be the next, George thinks I'm crazy, but I want to be the next Disney where,
ain't nothing crazy, because guess what? If it's in your head, it can be done.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that Walt Disney was crazy. A lot of people thought Bill Gates was crazy. All it starts is in here. But a lot of people at the end of the day are too afraid to put it out there, to materialize it.
Right. And it's
people gonna call you crazy regardless. And I know you were joking when you said that. Yeah. But a lot of people gonna call you crazy regardless. But so what? So what? You're doing something that they're afraid to do.
And
guys, I want to just say hi to forgive me a second. I just want to say hi to Paul Jenkins, who's in the chat. And hey, Paul, if by any chance you want to come in here and give your opinion on this new comic book launch of DINALE, you're most welcome to.
I just want to say this, Paul, you changed my life at Top Cow. I don't know if you've seen my message I sent you, but when
it's
you
true.
said
it says
Top
it all the
Cow,
time.
when I sent you did the darkness, man, I read all your stuff over there at Top Cow. I didn't even know who you was, but I was reading all your stuff because I was a big Top Cow, Mark Silvestri, Michael Turner fan, man. And Michael Turner did your cover for the agency. That's what really drew me into that comic book. So you know what? Kudos to you, sir. PJ know all the cool celebrities. PJ know all the cool celebrities, man. That's why I'm glad I'm here. And then crickets.
Well, and no, that's an awesome. I don't know how to back it. That's heartfelt from the heart, man, from the heart. All I can say is rest in peace, Mike Turner. You know, gone.
Man, Michael Turner was the freaking man, and I think only hardcore comic book heads know Michael.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael, if he was still, Yeah, Soulfire Phantom. If he was still Witchblade, if he was still here, oh man, he would have took his company to another level, man. I haven't seen yet anybody drawing like him. I see a lot of imitators, but ain't nobody drawing like Michael Turner, man. One of his best runs right before he died was a Batman Superman comic.
Yeah.
And they're still putting out books, putting out books on his stuff still.
And that's touching, George, that the company he ran is still going strong. That's touching to me. They could have easily just gave that up and said, well, our leader is dead. But they kept going. And I'm picking up their stuff. I love Aspen Comics.
By the way, no obligation, Paul, but I sent you the link in case you want to jump in. Feel free to come, to join our discussion. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Fatal.
No, you fine. You know how I am, PJ. I go on those tangents and I just go random and
I love your tangents. I love your tangents. Listen, for people who are just joining us now, DINALE, can you talk a little bit? Can you talk a little bit again about this about the characters? About the characters' cloaking abilities. Sure. And before you answer that question, I just want to put up this question I saw, and it's a fair question from ALYSSIA. Is the mask cursed in any way? And I know obviously she's thinking about the movie The Mask, Jim Carrey's movie, but is there any kind of?
But that's the vibe I got too. And then there's another DC character that's like that too. When he and I'm not comparing your character to anybody, but it just reminds me of other mask characters when you put the mask on and your whole personality change.
I'll stop right there. There's no curse on this mask, because one of the things I stressed to DINALE when he was creating the story and creating the concept of the character, I asked him straight out, the concept you just described to me, can you plug it in to any other existing character out there? And if he came back with yes, then I said, go back to square one and rework your idea.
That's awesome.
That was an easy no. When he asked me that question, I said no.
That's awesome.
So
because it's been done. Think about the mask, Jim Carrey or the comic. Yeah, right. That's cursed. That's a cursed mask.
Right. And that's not what I'm looking for. The way that I kind of pitched it to George when I was formulating my thoughts into a solid concept as I was writing this, and he's giving me, asking those questions like, has this been done to any other characters? What is the goalpost or guidepost that you're looking for? I'm saying, well, I'm looking for this character. I'm looking for this character. And it's like, okay, does it have any connection to it? I'll answer that one. We will continue. And I would say, no. But we have asked questions about that. And no, to answer the question that was before air. That was asked about demons. So yeah, so that was one of the questions. Like, is there, are you being like lame and have a demon in there? No. So it's very interesting how it's been developed. We've broken all molds and try to steer away from a lot of cliches that's been apparent. And
I brought from my end, I brought 30 years of branding, marketing, and advertising experience to DINALE, and I used that technical skill to help him craft his product that is unique to him, and it cannot be plugged into anything else out there. There's no what's it called? It's very distinct. It cannot be compared to another product out there. It stands on its own.
And that's what I want.
Fabulous, guys. Let me just say real quick. Subscribe to Meta Studios, to Paul Jenkins Meta Studios, please. Hello, Stogie. I'm digging your new avatar, by the way, Stogie.
Oh, what's up, Stogie?
And guys, subscribe to all these people in the channel. Adega Outlaw has his own content.
I love Adega. What up, Adega?
Yeah, Adega is awesome. Adega is awesome, and please focus. Please get Adega's new book, Evolution, which he's putting
Adega
out.
got something out?
Yeah, Adega's got this out. Here,
Adega, you didn't tell me. Come on.
Yeah, look, this is Adega's book. Where's Adega's book? I'm gonna find it.
These my buddies in here. Joe, Adega, SNR.
Yeah. Subscribe to ALYSSIA. By the way, guys, ALYSSIA Victoria Parker, her channel. She's getting close to 1,000. She needs a little push. So everybody subscribe to ALYSSIA.
Now, PJ, is that the girl that does the Star Trek weather? Is that her?
She was doing ALYSSIA was doing she was doing an Orville related fan project, and that project has been modified, and she's putting out a new version of it very soon.
But PJ, that's not her that do the like it's cold out here on Tatooine.
No, that's not her. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I like those though. Her videos, the girl that does that.
Who does that? I'm going to do a Tatooine thing too. Who does the Tatooine thing?
Yeah, you do. You know her. She be on your channel all the time, especially on live streams, where she played what they call a meteorologist. You know, that does the weather, like the news.
Oh yeah. Oh, Katie, the Starfleet meteorologist. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not her though. That's not her.
That's not her. No.
Oh, okay.
This is ALYSSIA. She does a lot of Orville stuff.
Okay, but yeah, I like that girl's channel because she was like, it's cold over here on planet Blue Moon, and it's
yeah, that's So Many Fandom channel. It's called So Many Fandoms.
Her channel is gonna blow if she keep doing that. I'm telling you,
her channel is gonna blow up. I watch and see. Wait and see what's gonna happen with her channel. Let me just share this. I just want to be really quick about this. There we go. So, by the way, guys, for anybody who doesn't know, our wrench, Adega Outlaw, his new book Evolution is on sale. So please subscribe to Adega. Do me a favor. Can you plug your channel since you're the wrench? Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. And subscribe to Axonar, Stogie, George Peter Gatsis. Who else is content out there that we have? ALYSSIA Victoria Parker. Steph, by the way, Stephanie Littlepage. Steph, can you put Captain Roberts' GoFundMe into the chat, please? So Captain Robert has been the community is helping Captain Robert get his housing from the VA. So if you can put that in the chat, Steph, I appreciate it. Thank you. Great. Sorry, guys. Back to the topic, and let's see. Okay. There was another question here that I wanted to ask.
Now, this is Adega's comic right here.
This is the cover of Adega's book. It's a book.
Now, what is this about? Because I'm intrigued. Evolution with the eyes.
Yeah, well, this is one of his sci-fi novels. It's the first one he's published, and it's available.
Adega, good for you, bro. A novel.
Yeah.
Man, there's just so much talent around here. Jeez,
isn't that awesome? The amount of talent we have in our community.
Yeah.
Listen, if we put all our minds together, we can outdo Disney and Lucasfilm. Just all.
If we put our minds together, we can take over planet Earth.
You wouldn't be too far from it. Nothing's far fetched.
That's what Dubcock is thinking about.
Future.
Oh yeah. You know, Dubcock already told me I could be one of his generals. So I'm down with him taking over there.
Now, I was a question here, but I lost the question.
What's up, Stogie?
Yeah, there's Steph, if you can put that up again, for it, there's nobody should be living in their car.
Like whole times no base that need to get bulldozers rebuilt upon to help vets have a stay. Yeah, man. I don't understand why they do our veterans like that. I mean, they should be treated like royalty in this country. Everybody should look here. If you fight for this country, you should have free everything: free housing, free cars, no taxes. You put your life on the line for this country, man, and they treat them like crap.
Yeah, hopefully that gets resolved real soon.
I hope so too.
His housing.
I hope so. I hope so.
Adega, can you do me a favor and put your thing up?
Yeah, because I need to check that out and I need to buy it.
And I'm putting up Adega's Twitter anyway. So, by the way, I want to say that George Peter GATSIS, by the way, guys, works with a lot of people in our community, and he's also mentoring me as well with one of my projects. And George is just amazing. He's the 30-year veteran of the comic book industry. And,
PJ, as much as me and you talk, why you never told me about your project? See, I don't think we best buds no more, man.
Well, see, the problem is we most of our conversations are that I can't say that much in the chat and when we chat on when we're texting, but then when we talk face to face, we're always in a group of people. So I didn't want to, I didn't mean to be rude.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
So I wanted to stress that everybody who has any kind of idea should go. The consultations are free, right, George? Free consultations to go and ask questions.
Yeah, yes, they are. And and just so everybody knows, the very first thing I tell you before I even hear what your concept is that you should put it down in a Word document or a text document, as detailed as possible, and then register it with the Writers Guild of America, East or West, so that way you have you start the system of protecting your idea, your story. You can't copyright or trademark an idea, but you can protect the story that makes up your idea.
Can you tell us George? Can you tell us that first step that?
Yes.
You're always telling people to do? What was that first step that you're always telling?
It's very important. It's super important. When you have an idea, let's say an example, an alien from another planet, crashes on the Earth and then becomes a hero for humanity. Well, what did I just describe? I just described Superman? Well, yeah, but I also described hundreds of other similar ideas. What makes that story different from all those hundreds of other stories? It's the actual story itself. That's the copyright. That's the story. It's not the protection of the title. It's the protection of the content that makes up your story. So if you have to protect that content, you have to protect the substance of your idea, and I ask everybody to do that, so that way when you present me your concept, you have a record that it has been registered with the Writers Guild of America, East or West, and from then on, it's a very simple process. I'll read it. I'll ask you questions. You'll answer the questions, or you'll have a hard time answering those questions, and you'll go away to figure out those questions. You figure out the answers to those questions, and eventually, you'll go from having an idea of just a few paragraphs to a full to say 3 or 4 pages called a treatment, to more pages called a detailed treatment, to even more pages, which is the basis of first draft in a script, until you have the final draft. And every milestone, every time you come up with more content in your story, I will ask you to register it again. because what you do at that point is you're showing a progression of your idea coming to life, your stories coming to life, and that is in itself a form of protection. So that way, if some stupid corporation like the people that run
Disney,
Star Trek Discovery,
CBS,
it decide to say, "Oh wow,
Fox,
wait a minute,
ABC, you name it, they've all done it."
This is hypothetical, mind you. Oh wow, look at that! A blue tardigrade that moves faster than light travel.
Yeah, I want to welcome Stogie, guys. Sorry,
Oh,
Jared,
sorry, I snuck in the back door there, boys.
Yeah,
Stogie, what up, my friend?
So if you have an idea and you know you have shown that your idea has you have history, you have progression of your history as you're putting your idea together, and that's with the Writers Guild of America, or East or West. In Canada, it's very similar too. So that way, if someone takes your ideas for whatever reason, and you think, you know what, your idea is worthy enough to be protected and taken to court, you can present them the evidence of your registration dates. And it's very inexpensive. I believe it's somewhere between $25 and $35. I don't know the exact price, but offhand, but it's that
$20.
$20. There you go. That's how much that as little as $20, and you're starting to build up evidence of your work, and that you did create this particular idea into a full-fledged story, which you can protect under copyright.
And I would add to that, because I was talking to a writer who passed away recently, or I should say last year, whose name was James Hutnell, and he was talking about how Chris Carter from X-Files stole one of his stories and then credit him for one of the X-Files episodes, and he had a big suit, and because he did what George has said, showed his proof that he had registered and everything, he won the lawsuit against Chris Carter. So every time they air that episode, they would put story by James Hutnell, except in that case, Chris wasn't so happy, so he pulled that episode not to air anymore. But things that I've heard about Hollywood, they will try to steal any good idea. So I would urge any potential creators to, register as soon as possible. Even if you don't think it's much, even if it's just, a draft form of, 5 sentences or paragraphs, do it, because that is going to, when you have to go in front of the corporations and you have to say, hey, you guys stole my work, you give your attorneys that progression that George mentioned.
There's a much older fashioned way of doing that too,
Yeah.
that verifies it. You basically take a finished product of your work or a semi-finished product of your work, and you certify mail it to yourself and then never open the package. Yeah. That thereby dates and times by a federal government when a version of that was finished.
Yeah.
Stogie, I thought you were gonna say something totally different. I thought you were gonna say I thought you was gonna say it's a very old school way of doing it. You take them in the back room, put their hand on the table, and
but
you pull out the hammer.
You know how we do. I'm from New Jersey. You know how we do. Like,
I know how you do it.
Is somebody gonna do me for $500,000, yo? I'm gonna go sell that debt to somebody from up north who's gonna go collect. Maybe I'll get 20%. See some money.
Yeah, hey, you in New Jersey? I know you know some good fellas up there.
Oh man, the whole state is that way. You know how it is.
So Stogie, what's your first impression of the DINALE's launch of the comic?
Oh, it looks interesting. I haven't seen much yet. That's why I came along to see what's going on. I like the idea of it so far.
Yeah, I want you to get a mask made too. You want to get a mask made?
That actually would be a lot easier than you think, believe it or not. I don't know what George's maximum printing size is. I don't know if he'd be able to do the eyes. Or, you might have to paint some of the detail in, but he could definitely do like a base.
Shoe polish goes a long way about these
Right.
days.
Well, but no, like you could actually, like modeling supplies. All George would really have to do is paint the base thing. You get it sanded down nice to the way you like it, and then have it painted up, and it would look amazing, dude. That would be the kind of stuff that you would totally sell in like a Kickstarter.
Right.
And those things alone could fund like entire lines of possibility.
Yeah, the figurine and the actual mask, whether it's life size or smaller, is actually being worked on.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I've no doubt. Like, because we've talked about your 3D printing ability. I figured you would probably already be thinking about it.
Yeah. So that's in the part of the campaign and everything.
The dopeness would be is if you could get some kind of plastic that's like a translucent green, so that you could wear this mask and still see through the eyes. That would be the hotness.
Now you gave George an idea. He won't be able to take it out of his mind.
I don't know, though. I don't know. Like, I don't know how tough that stuff is and how, like, see-through it is. Like, this becomes one of those, like, Star Trek questions. Like, how much transparent aluminum am I going to need? So that I can still see through my safety goggles.
Stogie, you want to know something funny?
What's up, man?
I stopped watching Picard.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's not dude, the show initially aired at like 12:30 in the afternoon. What happens at 12:30 in the afternoon? Daytime soap operas.
And
the whole
everybody at
show is like a daytime soap opera. Like, if you look at the whole format of the way all the stories and all the action and all the drama is sort of a little overly ridiculous, it's daytime soaps, baby. Like,
makes sense.
Right, though.
They ain't even trying to make Star Trek. They trying to make Star Trek the General Hospital.
Stephanie, that's messed up.
Wow.
It's crazy how they treat our people, man. How they treat our veterans.
Yeah.
Well, see, the problem there, Stephanie, I also grew up in a mortgage company, and my mom and my grandmom, they handled a lot of VA loans. So one of the things that's happened nowadays is like there aren't really good programs to tell people what's available. The VA loans and HUD assistance, that stuff's been around forever. They just don't want you to know it's there because it makes the numbers look bad.
Dang.
Yeah.
Stephanie, I hope everything works out for you.
Yeah.
And him.
A lot of things is that banks, when they have bad accounts, they throw it to another bank for them to hold it out. They do a little game of hot potato with all of those.
You know what?
But Bank of America was robo-signing veterans out of their houses while they were in active duty, which is completely against the law.
Man, you know what? Banks are not worth a damn, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I don't know where PJ at, but I'm gonna still keep going. How the freak? And this is in the simplest terms. How the freak are we giving people money to keep our money? I'm gonna say that again.
Well, we're basically paying them money to loan other people our money,
and this
for them to make money off of our money instead of
our money. They're putting our money into real estate or stock market, whatever.
Right. No, yeah. They take our money collectively and they use that to back like construction loans and stuff like that. Big construction loans.
We get to this point. Why are people not having a light bulb over their head and say, you know what, my grandmother was right. I should just put the money in my mattress or in a shoebox somewhere and bury it.
Well, I don't know about necessarily putting it in a shoebox and burying it. But see, there are much better places to hide your money, right? Like the modern under the mattress is things like PayPal. Put your money online. Ain't nobody going to take it from you. Especially if you hide it in one of those FDIC online banks that don't charge you 1,000 fees and actually kick you like 2.5% for having your cash there.
Yeah, but these BS banks don't even give you interest for choosing their banks. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, well, that's how they do.
You're robbing me.
No, the robbers are the the services, the goods and services going up like inflation rates out the wazoo. That's where we're getting robbed.
I swear, man, I'm gonna take all my money out the bank, and I'm telling you, shoebox. I knew I kept my Nike shoebox for a reason. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm done with banks.
Now you can you can actually hedge a bunch of cash if you want to hold some weird or collect some weird stuff, right? Hide them in, you could start collecting silver pamps, silver gold bars. Like you know how like a gold bar is. You collect the silver ones, you collect some gold ones, have a nice little collection.
But Stoggy, that's how we got in this mess in the first place. Remember?
Once upon a time, yeah, that's how we got in the mess because we jumped off that gold standard, right? And they were like, "Yo, everybody, turn in your gold dollars," and they was like, "Fuck off."
and the notes that was to let people know that you had gold. The banks was just holding on to it. Now it's no gold.
Yeah, and every dollar was backed by gold.
Same value as the toilet paper you buy in the store.
Yep. Fiat.
What happened here? PJ is gone. We're talking about evil banks right now. What is going on?
You guys were ranting.
There he is.
About things.
PJ, see what happened? You left, and I went on one of my tangents.
What happens, young buck, when you get too many old men in a room together? We start bitching about our problems, life.
We were supposed to be talking about comic books.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
We are. Now I wanna get Alicia's
segueing while PJ was in the can.
I just wanted to get Alicia. Alicia, what's your perspective on welcome? What's your perspective on DINALE's new project?
It's really, really cool. I mean, I'm wondering, is it going to be digital? Is it going to be printed? Or how's it going to work exactly? I'm just curious about that.
Well, we are aiming for prints because everybody likes to have something in their hands. We are
physical is best, yes.
Yeah, physical is best. We are going to offer digital in the campaign, but the digital won't be released until the very end, until every backer gets their physical book.
Yeah, because you don't want the pirates pirating you.
That
makes sense. That makes sense. That's what makes sense. About how many comics are you thinking about doing total? I mean, is it going to be like maybe 3? Is it going to be a complete series?
It depends on the vendor, but you can get 1,000 made pretty easily. George just got good options.
Yeah. So
was that her original question? I thought she meant like issues. Did you mean issues?
Like how many issues? Yeah, exactly. That's what I was meaning. That's what exactly.
Right. So I have
like it's gonna be 1 issue, 2 issue, whatever.
So this is an ongoing series. I've written up highly detailed 15 scripts already, so 15 issues right up, and I have planned out up to 10 volumes worth of work on this.
Very good.
Okay.
You're awesome. You're a madman too.
Yeah. And then that's including a lot of other.
He's definitely a boss. Wow.
It's a lot of other sideways stories as well. So I'm not including that, but there's more stories to tell.
I just have to point out that I was looking for an exit strategy until he dropped all those volumes on me, and it's looking at it going like, dude, at what point can I actually take a vacation?
And then I said, "What's the logo?" I said, "What is the logo says? There's no rest." So there's the third reason why we
no rest for the weary.
Yeah.
You know how they say, George, you can
that's the thing
rest when you're dead.
Yeah. So
George, are you distributing this? Are you distributing this?
I'm assisting in the production of it in terms of getting it to press and getting into the hands of the people. Yes, I'm distributing it. If technically speaking, I'm sourcing out the printer, figuring out the
logistics,
the logistics, the threshold between a low print run and a high print run, and where the numbers have to be hit. All that stuff.
George, can I ask you another question?
I'm married.
Dang. Well, I have to go with the next question. This is the next question.
I got kids.
Dang. Well, let me go with the next question. You pretty much know if you got a hit on your hands.
That's right.
Did you hear me, George?
Yeah. I heard you. Yes.
I thought you was going to start explaining some stuff. So just a simple yes.
Why, George? Why do you see you have a hit on your hands?
Do you see the signs, or do you just yeah, this is it right here?
Okay. Well, there's two ways to answer this. One is I can say yes and just go back and replay this video from the beginning, and to hear everything that was talked about. In terms of now, immediately, I can tell you why this is a hit. Is on pure technical level. I'm not even going to talk about the artistry yet. I mean, it's there in front of you, and you're only seeing one image, and everything in the book is going to be more spectacular than what you see on the cover. And
now, DINALE, I don't know if you've thought about this, or if stuff like TikTok is even in your views. But I've recently had to take in TikTok and understand the whole format of trying to create a compelling TikTok video. Now, what I do see in what you're showing just there is the ability to potentially zoom down the street and use character repositioning to tell a story. Because mind you, a TikTok video, because this Immortal mask portion here might be 2-3 seconds, only needs to be an additional 12 seconds long.
Nice.
So you could very easily make yourself a promo video, find some nice music that you like, kick it up on TikTok, and start passing that around, and that might do something for you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something that very much we'll consider. Now going back to the question, is how is this a hit? I can tell you from 30 years experience in marketing, advertising, and branding that. On a technical level, I've asked the hard questions to DINALE. I've brought all my experience and I asked them the hard questions, saying, everything you're doing, can you plug it in? What you just said to me, can you plug it into some existing product out there? The visual that you're thinking, can you plug it into an existing product that's out there? The concept that you're thinking, can you plug it into an existing product out there? I keep asking the same question. And he keeps coming back saying, no, yes, no, yes. And then if it's a yes, then I say go back and rework it from the ground up. Keep working.
That's cool, because that was going to be my next question for you.
Yeah.
I was wondering, have you ever?
As soon as you're able to stand against other exceptional properties on the shelf and be recognized as a unique product.
And that was the question I kept posing to George, is like, if I put this on a comic book shelf or Target or Walmart or any other retailer, will it stand out from any other product? And his answer was yes. Like,
I agree.
If you're walking and you just browsing, this image, does it capture your attention? If you're just browsing,
as a example that I think everyone can attach their thinking to, when you think of the Amazing Spider-Man, you see the logo on the cover. When you think of Rom, the Space Knight, you see the logo on the cover. When you think of Superman, you see the logo on the cover. When you're talking about the Immortal mask, you're seeing the logo on the cover. Right?
The logo stands out. It really does.
That's just on the visual basis. That is, we're talking core. We're talking, you're right down to the root here, and then when you pass that threshold, you look and you got somebody's attention. Then you look at the cover itself and you go like, oh, doesn't look like it's drawn. Actually, it is drawn. It looks painted. Well, is it a photograph? But whatever I'm looking at, it's pretty freaking awesome. You know,
Can I ask?
at that
I want to
point-
ask.
At that point, you open up the thing and you're expecting to see, cheesy artwork or cheap artwork that's not that doesn't appear on the cover, and you go like, "Holy smokes, it's the same level of quality in the book."
Yes. And that's what I've been pushing my artists to do. The quality that you're seeing right now, it's either at or better.
You know what? I've experienced that a lot with comic books, especially when I was younger. I would see a fantastic freaking cover, and they'll even pay a rock star comic book artist to do it. And then when you open that bad boy up, it sucks.
Right. And I hated that. I hated that when they always got me on those.
Yeah.
I'm like saying, no, I don't want that. And from that lesson, because whatever they did right, I also have to recognize.
Never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. I always recognize that. It's like, no. If we're
But you know what, though? But you know what?
Yeah.
We all judge books by their cover. You know we do.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
Because if you knew,
I've done it when it
inside
comes
the
to
book,
movies.
you knew inside the book it was a fantastic story. But you saw two stick figures sword fighting.
Listen.
You're not gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
He said stick figure.
Well, I would challenge you on that because some people paid for a crowdfunding of stick figures like about $3 million.
Yeah, but that's a niche.
That's a niche.
Most people not looking for that because I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to comics, I'm looking at the art first, then the story. Now that might just be Fatal J, but I always look at the art first.
No, that is everybody in there. That's why the saying is, people come for the art, but they stay for the story.
Yes.
And it become a common saying because, you may say I'm part of the minority. No, every time anybody say I'm part of the minority, you're not part of the minority. You're part of the majority. Where you come in for the art, you look at the art, and if the art is awesome, you're glued in, and if the story is awesome, you're glued in for the next comic book.
You have to make yourself attractive to your audience.
Right. So
You don't have to lose your mind, but you have to at least make an effort.
It's only one person in the comic book industry, and y'all probably gonna think it's blasphemy for saying this. It's only one person who art is mediocre, and I'll still stay because I love his stories. Should I say it and have everybody throw darts at me? Do y'all want me to set myself up for failure?
There's no failures.
Go for it, Fatal. Who knows?
Freak it. I'm gonna say it. I'm going to say it, and y'all might hate me for the rest of my life. I don't care.
We don't judge.
Frank Miller.
Okay.
Hey, it's funny that you say that. I think I have a video of Paul Jenkins kicking his ass at a Comic-Con, basically behind him, like shoot and pull behind his back the entire time while Frank's like feebly trying to play regular.
I mean, it was at a time Frank Miller was dope at his art, but now his art is. But I was still.
Wait. Who is this Frank Miller you speak of?
Might not be is it Scottish guy? Who are we talking about?
Come on.
Now that I think about it, it could be a fairly general name.
Is he Polish?
Y'all know exactly who I'm talking about, okay? It's how many comic book
The
movies?
Sin City guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. At the
I
time,
think I've seen him.
At the time, Frank was the best at art, but then some start slacking. But don't get me wrong, I still buy his stuff because his stories are excelente. I love his stories.
Remember the difference between doing something for passion and doing something now because it puts food on the table.
Well, I didn't want to say that because Frank is.
Well, yeah, somebody's got a passion to really do it, and it shows.
Actually, on a technical level, if you really want to think about it, Frank Miller actually improved upon his craft, because at the start, when he was doing books, he would have high level of detail and a lot of what we call a graphic quality to his work, and to portray the story. But as his work progressed further and further, and improved and aged, so to speak, you will see he will actually use less and less lines to tell a story, and that's amazing because the less lines you use to project or impress or tell the story, the more the more exceptional you end up being. As an example, Dave Stevens, the Rocketeer. If you look at his work, it's at the level of Alex Raymond and Al Williamson, and those guys have simple line work, and also Will Eisner, and forgot the Wood. What's his name?
But that's what I like about Frank though, because you said it was less line work, but I love Frank's line work. The line work that he did in Sin City cannot be touched. It's glorious what he did on black pages and putting white images on it.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen a comment like that yet. But if you read Dark Knight Returns 3, I'm sorry, that art was horrible.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
You're right. It's somehow he went back to his 80s.
But I mean, no disrespect to Frank Miller, because I know he's sick. I know he's been sick or might be sick. I don't know. And I know he's getting older, but I'm just making the fact that when it comes to Frank Miller, I don't care what he draws. I'm still going to buy it because he can make great stories. He's a heck of a writer. A heck of a writer. But I think his drawing days are pretty much over. And again,
guys, if I can, I just want to bring. There's a question I wanted to ask DINALE. DINALE, if you had to pick somebody, a Hollywood star to portray the Immortal Mask in a movie, who would you pick?
Living or dead?
Did you say living or dead? You said?
Yeah.
How about give us one and give us both?
Well, let's see. For living, back in his younger days would be Robert Redford. I could see it because he has that everyday charm. That would fit well. Shoot, I've said it myself with Dead because I wasn't really thinking Dead.
Well, what about if somebody who would have to play the Immortal Mask now? If you had to cast somebody now, who do you think you might pick?
I haven't really given any thoughts about the present one because I wouldn't want to box myself into a preconception for any actors now. If they get the essence of the character, I think it would work fine with that. It's basically you get the essence of the character. If he feels like he's the Immortal Mask, then we move forward with that kind of deal.
How? I think somebody asked this before. How old in these images? How old would you say the Immortal Mask is?
So this is his mid-20s, like 25, 26 right there. And this is around 1974. So I do have a elevator pitch, kind of like, and it'll probably answer some questions as well. So let me just read that off.
Please do.
So the elevator pitch for the Immortal Mask, if I was pitching it to everybody, is a retired soldier down on his luck is given a Covenant interview with a death row inmate. When he learns from the interview, thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He will have to utilize his military training to survive from being hunted for the information that could topple the most powerful ruling class in the city. So
interesting.
Yeah. So
he's a retired soldier.
Right. So 74, so he would be a Vietnam vet. Coming off the war, so around that time, Vietnam pretty much ending at that time. It's a reporter, and the information he obtains kind of thrusts him into this path, kind of deal.
Is there a component to? Is there any component of time travel?
What's up, Benzo?
No components of time travel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fatal, when you go to the fridge, man, bring me back something, dude.
Let me tell you something, man. PJ, my house is your house, bro. Come in my fridge, raid my refrigerator. I got plenty of snacks, sausages, sodas, water, whatever you need, bro. My house is your house.
Okay, I'll take you up on that. Okay, so I thought the fact that you mentioned Robert Redford was interesting. I think that's very interesting that you said that.
I'm still trying to get an understanding of who this character is supposed to be. Can you give me kind of like a character that you can most compare him to?
He won't tell us. I've been trying to get him to tell us for an hour.
Well, that's just it. We went through that process, so that way he's not comparable to anybody else.
Right. It's not comparable to anybody else. And, that's the mystery of the Immortal Mask,
PJ, AVP accidentally closed her window. Can you pull her in? Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
That's the mystery of the Immortal Mask. And, this is a story that I want to kind of tell, and I want the reader to kind of discover what he's all about, what he is, and kind of get the feeling through the content that I'll, release, through the comic book.
Yeah, you know what? I can pull some ideas or some visual concepts, so you can get an idea from multiple sources.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about Peter Parker, okay, Peter Parker meets the Shadow, meets Dr. Fate, and Doc Samson.
Well, this is what I want to know. What is the theme of this book? The theme?
Crime noir.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh,
Crime
see, that's
thriller.
cool. Now,
That was kind of the feel I was getting from it, just
Yeah.
by the fact that it's low light in a dark street.
And Mr. Lundell, that's a good, because I was thinking vigilante too.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yep. It's a start of everything. So
A part of me was kind of going somewhere in like the whole Dark Man thing, but not hokey necessarily.
no.
Because you know how that movie turned out later on.
Oh man.
Man, that movie messed me up as a kid. Dark Man.
Yeah, no, that shit was a little much.
When he changed his face and stuff, I was like, what the freak is this? And I'm watching this at 9 years old, mind you.
That was Liam Nielsen before he became Taken. He's like, Darkman's coming after you. That's all I could think of when he was doing this Taken speech. It's like, oh boy, Darkman's coming after you. Change face.
Oh shit. But no, yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of the vein of vigilante I was getting.
Yeah.
Only this dude ain't got no reason to hide his face. Like he hasn't been in some kind of a Joker like fucking horrible accident to disfigure him.
No, nothing like that at all. Nothing like at all. No.
A lot of the times, the mask wearers in stories will wear the mask because it's an alternative to being themselves, because themselves is something they don't want to look at.
Right. No, that's not anything close. So.
With Batman, for instance, that was a bit more psychological than it was a physical scarring of any kind.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that bugs me a lot. Batman. He's one of the smartest guys on the planet, and he runs around in these outfits to punch out bad guys. Did you hear what I said? He's one of the smartest guys on the planet, and he runs around so he can punch out bad guys.
Yeah, it's kind of weak. I mean, you'd think he's Bruce Wayne. He would just have like smart bullets or like come up with the actual, phaser on stun setting kind of a thing, and just zap. Kind of like remember in Indiana Jones and the Raiders where he just shoots the dude instead of having a fight scene. You kind of expect like the smartest, richest dude around would just be like, Yeah, I mean, I could be a kung fu master, but I could just do this.
Exactly. You know, it's like all those millions of dollars, so he can have, a Batmobile that's armored, a bat suit that's armored, all the gadgets, so he can go up the side of a building instead of taking the elevator. Come on, are you serious? I mean,
Well, no, see, up the side of the building thing, I don't mind that. That's kind of dope. But it's like he's got a toy for everything. I kind of agree with my era's Joker. Where does he get all of these wonderful toys? And who thought of this shit?
oh, that's easy. Bill Finger.
Yeah, you can
Or you
finger
start
it a
with
finger.
Wayne.
Do we have a villain in this?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not ready to
And it's
feel any of that yet.
Actually, are there multiple villains, or is there one?
oh yeah, no. There's
There's-
definitely multiple villains, and there's
Yeah.
there's definitely because Denali designed a board game. There's definitely a level up scenario. So you got the bad guy, then you got the boss bad scenario, and all that plays out in this story.
Can you tell us, Denali, a little bit more about the board game and what you
Correct.
plan to, and how you plan to use it in the marketing of the whole universe?
Well, there's a lot of stories that will take a while to do. So part of the way to introduce elements that was ingenious before is basically everybody knew about the lore of the Immortal Mask because they played like the games, like the board games beforehand. And the same thing would be in this one is as you're playing the board game, you're learning about the world. You're learning about um, little tidbits of the Immortal Mask. So it becomes familiarized to your character. So when you come into a concept or something happens in the actual comic book and stories, like, oh, I know this. This was referenced in the board game. Awesome. There's that connectivity. The way I'm envisioning the board game is, there's different ways of playing the board games that I'll reveal as time we get closer to the campaign. But it's really fun. You play. It's basically how you want to play it. It can be modular to that point of play, and I'll leave it like that. But it's once it's unveiled, it's going to be pretty sweet, and I think people will dig it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How long did it take you to write the script?
It took me basically a month to write the script because I was doing it 4 hours a day each night.
And you took it seriously because it's taken me like 2 or 3 months to finish my stuff.
Yeah. So and that was and that was on top of talking with the artists and all that stuff. So basically, it's 4 hours of script writing.
So you cracked down hard for 4 hours every day for that month?
No, it was 4 hours of writing script, 4 hours of talking to the other artists and relaying it. So
and when I say script, dialogue and characters and all that,
exactly. So and
that's just the script. Denali, tell him the overall process that took you to the point where you had final draft.
Yeah, this is the stuff I want to know.
So basically, I wrote the treatment, like the ideas, what I want the idea, what the theme of each issue is going to be, what I'm looking for. Then I expounded into the larger treatment outline of here's the characters, what I need. What are the villains that I need, the people he's going to go against? What are the characters going to support him? And how they're going to interact. And then I use a spreadsheet to actually put a time piece on every action to the minute, to the seconds of all those stories. And I did that for the 10 volumes that I wrote out. And then I went back to the first volume, which is 15 issues that I'm planning out, and wrote a highly detailed story. And then I went back and I wrote the first script that was 120 pages. and did the out.
It was more than 120. It was like 140, something like that.
Well,
But,
yeah,
and
140.
and then you went through the whittling down process.
Yeah, whittling down process, polishing up, trimming, and came down to that number. And
Can I ask you another?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I mean to interrupt, but this is my other question.
Mm-hmm.
Who is doing your lettering?
I cannot say. NDA.
Yeah. This guy is freaking. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's like a walking HR department. He's
right.
He's
Yeah,
got me
I
and
won't say.
a bunch of other artists. I'm assuming because I signed an NDA.
Yeah.
And a contract agreement and all that stuff.
Hold on, man. For the people who are simple-minded like Fatal J, can you tell everybody what the freak of MDA is?
It's a non-disclosure agreement, which is basically a contract saying you will not disclose that you are working under me or you're doing anything of the project of that nature. If you break that NDA, you face legal consequences, which might include monetary compensation for that breach of contract. So basically, and the reason why I did that is because I want my artists to focus on the work and not be harassed by anybody outside of the work. And the best example is lately, I could point it out, is Doug TenNapel and Sean Gordon Murphy, where he had to pull out of the project for a cover. I don't want that to happen. I want my artists to be happy and oblivious to whatever and come down and just do the work and not be pulling any stunts. So with the NDA, nobody says anything and work goes smoothly.
Cool.
And I would recommend that to anybody who's doing working on a comic book is put all your artists in NDAs, your letterers, your colorist, your painter, anybody who's you're working for, and that will protect them because they can say I cannot say anything, and they will move forward with focusing on what you want as the creative director, because I'm the producer and creative director of this work, and I want my vision to be fulfilled, and I don't want any distractions happening.
Nice. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
DINALE, where do you see now? A little while ago, we were talking about of having a goal. I think Fatal asked you, "What's your goal? What's your vision with regards to you see this universe, this franchise that you're creating? Where do you see this franchise within 4 or 5 years?
Movies,
God willing.
Movies, games, video games, animated movies, anime series, television series.
And books.
And books. And board games. So.
Now, is this your first project?
This is my first project, yes.
Okay, and another question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this your first comic idea? Have you always had this story in your head?
This one, it's actually recent, but I have multiple stories lodged in my head. People said I'm a natural storyteller, so this is going to be the avenue that focus everything in, so I'm looking forward.
That's a distinction that everyone should pay attention to. There's a difference between a writer and a storyteller. And they should understand that a storyteller is someone who can actually engage the audience and capture their imagination. A writer does that same thing too, but they do it in such a way that the words on the page are clever in passages of detail and soliloquy, and that and sometimes people just are looking for dialogue and action.
Yeah, because I think about the caveman that's in front of the fire, and he's telling that story.
Yeah, he's getting right to the heart of the matter. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not telling you a long-winded, say, 4-page setup to. Yeah, I just stabbed that mammoth. You don't need to know what the environment was, other than it was cold. It was windy, and I
That's
stabbed
it.
the mammoth.
That's it, because I got ADD bad. When it comes to comic books and when it comes to movies, if it's not getting my attention the whole time, even from the beginning, I can't rock with it.
Yeah.
So that's why when I'm writing my book, I'm looking it through the eyes of somebody who has ADD. How can I keep this person's attention going? I don't want to be big with words and long with dialogue, and like you said, long-winded. Freak that.
Yeah, that's a writer, and what you're describing is you want a storyteller.
Yeah, basically, you don't have to write. I would recommend just writing your first draft. Write it as you want to write it. The third draft, when you're writing it, write it as the voices of your character. How would your character say it? If your character is intellectual, you give those personalities.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah. I'll add more to what DINALE said. Yeah, the first time around, just put it on the page. By the time you get to the third draft, fourth draft, then you start massaging your story, your script, and you start writing it in terms of how the character speaks. So you just layer your work. Don't focus on doing everything at one time, because if you do that, you'll drive yourself crazy trying to figure everything out.
That's me.
Just first draft, just put it all down. Second draft, just polish it up, make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be in the story. Third draft, work on your characters. Is this character supposed to be talking like this? Is that character supposed to be talking like that? And so forth. The fourth draft, then you're actually going through and saying, is this actually necessary in the story or not? Fifth draft, you're going back and saying, is this character necessary in the story?
That's perfect. That's awesome.
If you say no, then you got to commit murder on that character and get rid of them, and spread their dialogue out to other characters around them.
That's crazy you said that, because I'm dealing with a side character, and I asked myself if this character really needed, and I thought it would just be cool to have that character in there. But since you said that, freak that character. That character is dead now.
You just bring that character to me, I'll kill that motherfucker.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's
metaphorically speaking, YouTube gods.
Yeah, he was talking about a fictional character that isn't even published. But
man, that looks like something from the Land of the Lost.
Guys, I just want to point this out, that talking about a great storyteller, this is the Fatal said about the caveman around the fireplace, and I think more than one of us had this image of Steven Spielberg's amazing stories. That when things stand out like this.
So
that was a classic.
I think a lot of us were thinking about this image.
Yeah, because I have the DVD, and it's timeless. It's still relevant PJ, to this day.
I always go back to that. When I'm thinking about an awesome story, I'm thinking about Around the Fire. And am I capturing that person's attention? Am I losing that person into my story?
Yeah. And that's the thing. If anytime you start feeling like you're losing that feeling that you mentioned, am I losing? Then you mostly are, and you need to look, keep writing, but put like a little notation, say, to look back at it when you're revising it and look at it, because anytime you feel like you're dragging it and you're feeling as a writer, then most likely it is.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been learning throughout this whole process. Like anytime I feel, is this dragging? If you have to ask that question, then it's yes, it's dragging. And then all I would do is put like asterisk marks next to that passage, just to let my future self know, hey, there's a problem with this passage. You need to either cut it, trim it, or remove it completely, and then continue writing. and leave it.
Yeah, that's true. Because I know when I'm writing stuff like that, like I write it all with pen or paper. But then by the time I get to the computer, I've edited it out so much that it's not like the original content that it once was. I mean, I basically do maybe 2 edits at most, and then, like I said, by the time you get to the final version, you're like, "What?"
Right, and that's the creative process. I know a lot of writers, a lot of storytellers, they always go with the analogy. It's like, are you a gardener or are you a what was it? The other one, planner or something like that.
Yeah, like a cultivator kind of thing. Yeah.
And I went like, the way I've been handling the production, I'm a farmer. I know what the crop that I want to grow. I just have to deal with all the equipment to get that, get the seeds in, get the farm hands in, and kind of move. That's what I go. I'm a farmer, and I'm farming the crops because and the weather and how much the crop is going to yield, that depends on the customers. So that's how I would paint myself. I'm a farmer of stories, and how well I do is based on how much people enjoy the fruit of my labor.
That's beautiful, Matt. That's awesome.
Denali, do you watch the Orville?
Yeah, I watch the Orville.
What are some of your favorite characters?
Some of my favorite character. Well, it's kind of funny because it always fluctuates, but I keep grounded with the main character that Seth plays, because he's pretty much the backbone of everything. And Ed builds that dynamic with everything else. But I like Gordon as well. For whatever reason, Gordon always appeals to me. He always have those remarks, and it's always, he's always there for Ed. So I like that relationship between Ed and Gordon going on throughout the things. And I like the Dr. Flynn as well. She always doesn't put. She's kind of like the nonsense McCoy of the Orville, and at least she doesn't say she's sorry, Ed, he's dead, kind of deal. But it gives a little more nuanced response. He's like, Ed, his head's been blown off, so he's dead.
It's worse than that. He's dead, Ed.
Yeah.
Ed, he's dead because.
Right. So, and it's kind of interesting that a lot of the chatter about the Orville is, at first was like a parody of Star Trek, but now a lot of media, whether it's YouTube or actually people writing it on blogs or the trades, or now it's saying that Star Trek is now mimicking the Orville because the Orville is more Trek-like. And one of the things that got me thinking is, yeah, because the Orville is more humanist approach to their storytelling compared to the Discovery and Picard, which is more agenda-driven, parson-driven. And that's one of the key components that we are kind of rejecting it collectively as fandoms, as people who watch these franchises, is that all these franchises that made us unite and enjoy it was because it came from a humanist approach and not from a partisan approach. And the fact that a lot of these people are putting it as partisan is kind of undermining the themes, undermining, what is the core aspects of each character or each franchise, so to speak.
I'm thinking, guys, that one of the reasons Denali did this was because he could have the coolest avatar on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
By the way, ALYSSIA, when is your Orville Lounge launching?
Tentatively, I'm going to launch it on the 25th of this month. I've got to finalize a couple more things, but it should be ready on the 25th of this month. So please mark your calendars, guys.
Okay, wow. So lots of big plans from our guests from Fatal and from ALYSSIA, but toward the end of the month. Okay.
Yeah, I got some interviews coming up too with some famous people. So look for that on my channel. Definitely for sure.
Any inklings of who you're going to interview?
One is Orville related. I'm going to say that they're known for their artwork. One is known from Star Trek Voyager, and one is known for their voice acting, particularly in the video game world.
Cool.
So
awesome. It ain't the guy from Metal Gear Solid, is it?
Huh?
I was just playing. I said it's not the guy from Metal Gear Solid, is it?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say, sign me up for that one.
No.
God of War.
Basically, he's kind of a main character, but he's not a main character, if that makes sense. Where you've seen him and stuff like that, but then you'd say, oh, okay, yeah, now I remember him.
Okay,
hey, somebody said God of War. That dude got an awesome voice.
That's Christopher Judge.
Zeus, come here.
I want to get him. He's going to indeed. Because he never knew when he was going to say it.
Yeah. Everybody would know him from Stargate SG1.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Oh, but I'm not. He got a powerful voice too. But I'm talking about the Kratos before him. Was a black guy. He used to be on this TV show called Living Single.
Oh yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? It's two Kratos voices.
Yeah, he had a very distinctive voice. Yeah.
Yeah, he got a powerful voice.
Yeah, he was almost like a James Earl Jones for television, you might say.
Yeah.
Is he as powerful as David Keith?
Yeah, it's like him, like Spawn, the dude that played Spawn and Goliath in the cartoons.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, he got a powerful voice. Go on YouTube and look at the cutscenes of God of War, the first
Living Single.
Well, the person is a female. The voice actor one I'm doing is a female one. It's not a male, it's a female. Two are males, one's a female. So she's mostly known, like I said, in the video game world.
I see. Awesome.
Guys, any final questions for DINALE before we start to wrap this up?
Yeah, I do. And this is gonna be a stupid question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
No question is stupid, Bill.
My mom always told me that. She said, "You know what? No question is stupid because somebody in the classroom is thinking the same thing." I don't believe that, but
what you're thinking of bacon and ice cream?
There is a such thing as that, though, George.
What, you know what, George? What about bacon flavored ice cream?
There is that. There is that.
Now, but this is the thing. Have it ever crossed your mind, DINALE, that instead of doing this on your own, you thought about going with an indie? Did that ever cross your mind?
Going with an indie? I am indie.
What I mean by that, when I say indie, I'm not talking about like what we doing, putting out our own stuff, but I'm talking about like your Dark Horses, your Images, your IDWs. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. No, it never crossed my mind because I want to do it my way, and if I go through Dark Horse or IDW or any of those comic books, they're going to be policy and their own brand that they have to take care of, and their own restrictions and guidelines of what they want for a comic book. And they could also say, hey, your comic book doesn't meet the criteria of what we're looking for. So I think I'm kind of like a pioneer that I want to go my own way and not be held back by anybody, and move forward.
And that's cool because people like you influence me to push it on my own. Sometimes it's that little demon in your head that says, hey, you can't do it on your own. Are you silly? But then when I look around and see everybody who coming out with their own content on their own terms, it puts the fire under my butt. It makes me want to do it on my own too. So kudos to you, man.
Thank you.
The key, Fatal, is that you have to understand the logistics long before you actually execute the project, because that will help you understand what you're creating.
Yeah,
George, can you elaborate on that?
Okay, we'll start
Because
off.
you've talked to me a lot about that.
Okay, technically speaking, on a technical level, not a creative level, you say I want to do a 32-page book or a 64-page book or a 48-page book or whatever. Well, then you have to understand how much money is it going to cost? Is it black and white? Is it in color? Right? Forget about projecting how many people it's going to you'll need. Okay, we're just talking about the logistics. The next step is to actually build yourself up a ramp in terms of production, meaning that can you produce your book? Forget about the art. I'm talking about technical right now, right? Can you get your book printed for the lowest cost? And I'm not talking about putting it on your home photocopier printer at home and stapling it together. I'm talking about
yeah.
I'm talking about high quality digital printing that is so good that you can't tell if it's digital or actually offset press.
Yeah.
And those places do exist. And that's what I'm doing for my book. Now, the thing is, at a certain point, the orders that come in and the cost of digital printing, you will be asked a question is, well, you know what? I got this many orders and this how much the digital printing costs, but the money that I'm collecting, I can flip it and go to offset press. So the cost of your book now is no longer, let's just say it's $20. It's now $5. And this is based on a 120-page book, okay? We're talking about meat here. So you're now the fact that you got from a 120-page book to which is $20 a book, you're down to $5 or $6, which means that now you have $15 profit in terms of additional monies that coming in that you only calculated off of the digital version. So, but that's just the printing. Now the shipping, you have to figure out the cost of your shipping. Usually,
Hey, hold on real quick. I hope people are taking notes because this is like some hidden treasure.
they can play it back. They can play it back. Remember,
I'm definitely gonna play it back. I'm definitely playing this back with a notebook. Trust me.
No, let me before George goes on. Some of the conversations I'd had with George, I swear, if you were recording it, it would be like a masterclass on this stuff.
Wow.
Now the next step is the shipping cost. Ideally, the weight of the book determines the cost of your shipping. Okay, and of course the distance that it goes to. But one page should equal about 1.5 grams. 500 grams is your threshold for the post office, whether it's in Canada or United States, and that's where the price changes. So what you want to do is figure out if your book's say 32 pages, then your book's about maybe 40 grams of weight, which means you still have another 400 grams of product that you can put in the box, but
it's 32. It's 32 the average though for a comic book.
A lot of people start off with a 48-page book. They want to justify. Here's the thing in crowdfunding. They want to justify the cost of $25 plus $25 shipping. $25 for the book plus $25 shipping. They want to justify this extremely high price with more pages than your average comic book, which is $6 for about 32 pages. So you're seeing what's going on here. At $5 off of a retail shelf, you get about 32 pages. For $50, you're getting 48 pages. So basically, you're doubling your page count and you're paying, what is it, 10 times the amount.
Wow.
So you gotta think, how can you make your offer to the reader, to the potential customer, sweet? You offer them perks. You offer them.
And see, that's why you said it. See, I'm listening closer to you. That's why you said you got to know the logistics before you even get into the creating part. Because guess what? Just listening to that little part right there is going to keep me from getting robbed.
Well, yeah, it's important.
And don't forget about, if you're doing crowdfunding, what the platform that you're going to be putting your books in, whether it's, retail, whether it's crowdfunding, whether what state you're in. You got to look at your tax code for your business as a creator, because there's sales tax, whether it's digital or physical copies, and you have to account for that as well. The sales tax and the feeds, like if you're doing Kickstarter, it's 8 to 10% fees.
Yeah.
If you're using any backer kit, that's another 2% fee per book, on top of the flat shipment. And
you know what, that's funny you said that, because PJ, can I name drop on here? I'm gonna name drop anyway, and then you get mad, I'm sorry. EVS, Ethan Van Scriver.
Oh, wonderful gentleman.
He almost hit he hit like $1 million, right, on that book, on the Cyberfrog, right? I was thinking, okay, he did crowdfunding. Can you imagine how much that platform made from his comics, his donations?
Oh, they were ecstatic. And Uncle Sam and Uncle Sam was ecstatic in his state of New Jersey.
They have to be with the taxes. That was a lot of taxes.
Well, yeah, but you got to think about it. Ethan, he did a wonderful thing. He ran multiple campaigns, which brought him over $1 million plus, right? But the thing is, it's not $1 million. It's the cost of shipping alone is in the where's it? In the 100,000 range.
Basically, half of his money went into shipping.
Wow.
That's an approximation, but you also have to think about the taxes that are involved,
which is one of the highest. He's in New Jersey.
And not only that, but see, this is the problem with shipping. It's not just the cost from the post office that you have to think about. It's the cost of the package that actually holds your book.
The freaking package.
That is an additional cost that you have to consider, right?
You guys are geniuses, man.
Well, I've done these logistics for a very long time.
I'm looking at.
What did you never have like your whole eBay period, man? You see, you never like ransacked your closets to go buy some new shit and go on a sale purge.
Yeah, because that's how eBay gets you.
It's basically the same thing, brother. It's
that's
like
the game. You're right.
Whenever you get packages in, especially if they like generic boxes and not all labeled up FedEx this or priority mail that, you break them suckers down, put them in the closet, because that's money. Every box is like $1, $2, something like big, $5. Like, boxes are expensive.
Oh, yeah. I've saved lots of Amazon boxes, lots of boxes. I mean, one gentleman, I sent an entire package in a weight scale box.
Well, and fatal too. If you're really, really crafty and smart about it, if you find a box that you know is right and you have access to a lot of raw cardboard or just big boxes, period, you can take some pretty strong scissors and just shape your own boxes. Just cut out the patterns and do each little nip cuts to make it each time.
But Stoggy, you're right, because I used to be in the eBay game heavy. I used to sell reused phones. Okay, I used to make a little living off that.
Buy low, sell high, and you sure should be losing your profits on boxes.
But the thing about eBay and the whole game about that, you're right, was the shipping. It was the shipping. It was the boxes. Until I realized, do you know you can go to the post office and they actually give you free boxes? A lot of people don't know that.
But it's priority mail, so you're
paying for it already.
Those rates, and those rates are not cheap.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Because the post office has been pigeonholed pretty bad to stay competitive. So for what they do, right? Like you're not going to find anything with insurance on it for that cheap. So if it's under $100 and you're sending things through the mail, that's a good way to go. And now in the instance of media, right? Your DVDs, your CDs, your prints, your books, your comic books, you can send all of that media mail, and media mail is drastically reduced. If you try to send a book first class, it's going to be $5 to $10 because it's expensive. It's heavy. Now, and if you send it media mail, it might be a couple dollars. It's snail mail, right? Like it'll take the longest possible amount of time they physically can take without it being, a burden to them. But it comes with a tracking number. It comes with insurance,
Stogie, I always take the slowest mail ever. I don't give a frick it don't get there in a day or two. Forget that. It's too expensive.
Well, but let's say you got to send a bunch of things like patches or hats or shirts. You're stuck with first class, and you got to know, like, all right, how many hats do I put into a box before it jumps up to a next bracket? Because you'll be charging somebody like $7, $8, and you'll put a third hat in there because you think you're being a nice guy, and then you just screwed yourself because now it's like $15 because that one extra ounce tipped the whole thing over into another bracket.
Stogie, until I learned the eBay game, I lost some money, bro. When it came to that shipping, because I tried to be nice with like free shipping and stuff. I was like, what the freak did I put free shipping?
Your profits. You don't free ship nothing to nobody unless you have an account and can afford that because you're like crazy.
Yeah, man. You know what, PJ, man?
Or you're overcharging and you're gonna get it. And so it's like, I'm being nice. I'm hiding that shipping in that overcharge.
Yeah.
The free ship will tempt them in because everybody charging $10.
That's what I started doing. I put free shipping, but I bumped up the price though.
Because that bumped up price was keeping it in your margins,
Yeah.
Now I know why I didn't get my Christmas postcard from Fatal, man.
Well, you
skimped on the.
Technically speaking, you can figure out the cost of your book and all that stuff, and include the shipping in there on a generic level. So that way, when people are buying your product, they're not gonna think, oh, well, I have to include shipping with this price, because they got sold on your product and they got sold on the price. And
well,
then,
logistics are really
and the thing is, quite a few times, even though they're sold on your product and they're sold on your price, when they go to cash out, they're seeing an additional price of the shipping, and then they're going like, oh, well, I'm not going to go for it.
Yeah, it puts people off.
Yeah.
And logistics is going to be very important now, especially for a lot of people who are used to making purchases from China. You're going to have to look local as much as you can because the availability might not be there. These big factories full of people to run very large mass production machines just might not be available to us for like the next 3 to 6 months, maybe a year. And if it comes, it's going to be drips and drabs. I'm seeing lots of images of people on Facebook who are like super excited that their crate or pallet full of Kickstarter stuff has finally arrived after like 2 or 3 month delay already.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let me talk about printing just for a moment. People are sending their stuff through a print broker overseas, right? And the thing is, if you find yourself a trade printer in your city, you'll more likely get a better price than what you're going to get overseas, and also you'll be there to approve it on the press, and you can literally either walk to it or go over with a van rental and pick up your product without having to wait 6 weeks to 3 months for your product to come through the slow boat from China.
Oh, so people are happy with that though, because the prices are super low. I mean, when they're spending like $10, $15 on a book, they're selling for $50, hardbound. So long as it shows up in time, they don't give a shit. It's all facilitated for them. They don't have to think.
Yeah, I see where we're going.
But a lot of people are going to have to scramble, right? Because that that those options for the moment are either going to be on pause or considerable delay, right? And that's going to screw up everybody's plans if their conventions even happen.
Well, they also have to worry about, is the package I'm getting filled with anything that I don't
Well,
want?
the good news about that is the maximum potential is like 3 to 9 days, right? And that's the strongest possible viruses, like coronaviruses, they know of. And that's somebody's like snotty booger done survived on top of something. 9 days. It'll take longer than 9 days to get here from China because, mind you, they're going to put it on an airplane, so it's going to go through various transitions of extremely cold and extremely hot, right? So that's going to kill things. And, I mean, most of the stuff is going to be on cardboard, so that's going to kill things, right? Because it doesn't retain the moisture. If it was in like the jungle, yeah, it might last for a month, like hanging out on the side of a tree or something. But, you know, as soon as you get out the jungle, conditions change.
Guys, before we forget, I just want to ask you any final comments for Denali, and I also want to remind everybody that tomorrow Alan Dean Foster and Robert Meyer Burnett are going to be on George Peter Gatsis' channel, and some guy called PJ from Orville Nation is going to be there too, and a few other guests. So check that out tomorrow.
Robert Meyer is the man. Robert Meyer is the man. I like him. Who is Foster? Let me know who that is.
Alan Dean Foster.
He wrote Star Wars.
Yeah.
What?
He wrote Star Wars stuff.
You guys need to quit messing with me.
No, he's the ghostwriter for Star Wars.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Gentleman who novelizes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Mainstream stuff.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot about that dude. A lot of people forget about that dude. That's awesome. He on the show though.
Well, a lot of people forget about where the real talent is. They just
he because he was behind Empire, right? Empire Strikes Back.
No, he was for the sequel, which was the Splinter of the
Mind's Eye.
Mind's Eye. Yeah.
Oh, he does novelization.
Yeah, he did the novelization for the original Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And
I know who he is.
And then he did the sequel, and then he did recently, and I say recently, he did the Force Awakens novelization as well.
Oh, okay.
The best way to understand it is he's the guy that comes back through with the whole merchandising crew to pick up all the money that's left on the table.
Okay.
He puts it to a median that somebody can take with him, because back in those days, you know, the movies, you couldn't really take things with you like we can now with our phones and our tablets and PCs and whatnot.
True.
A book was very important. A novel was very important.
Every word you hang on it.
Well, right, because see the advantage of the novels back then is, you know, everything in the movie had to fit into like a 2-hour window, hour and a half window, right? So you couldn't tell a story longer than that. In a novel, you can tell a humongous story. All the little things that you think should be there, you go and find it. Oh, shit, it is there. Now that makes so much more sense.
The details in it, you know?
Right.
They got time for context and nuance.
Because I always wanted to know how it looked when you remember when Anakin killed all the Jedi in the temple? I always wanted to know how that looked.
Like cutting sunflowers.
Yeah, but he killed younglings too. I'm pretty sure that was worth it.
I don't think they did a good job of that, you know. And I also want to call a little bullshit on Anakin being able to kill like all the Jedis.
I'm thinking that too, bro. That's why I wanted to see how did that look.
You're gonna tell me there ain't no little kung fu ninja kids that would have ganged up on his ass and stabbed him in the back? I mean,
and
come
you
on.
know, it's pretty a grown man Jedi in there somewhere chilling. You know,
dude, yeah, because it's not just gonna be like 30 unattended children roaming around.
Bro, that temple was huge.
Why did the Wookiees fight back? You know.
Bro, that temple was so huge. It couldn't have been just kids in there.
There's some survivors, definitely.
Yeah, there could have been at least like 5 or 10 kids force pushing him across the room while he's like slowly picking off stragglers. It would have lasted a hell of a lot longer than
And I know they tried to play it off like he got the clone troopers behind him, but they can freeze blaster bolts in the air. You know what I mean?
Kids are fighters, even if they didn't have the Jedi Force. Because I know the way little kids are, they'll be punching, they'll fight, they'll scratch, whatever.
Yeah.
Get off me, get off me,
Well,
get off me.
the logic, right, is it's
Hey,
like
Tig.
the Kung Fu monastery, if you will, right? So, like, how is there not, training weaponry around, and these kids have some training and know, oh shit, he's here to kill us. Let's all go get our shit and fight back.
And not to
Throwing
mention
chair at
his
him.
eyes. Not to mention this, bro. His eyes was glowing red and orange. That's a clear sign of a
Yeah,
Sith.
that was kind of a dead giveaway, right? Like, the warning
They
signs
didn't
were
get
there.
a Dega.
Get up and run away.
They didn't get Master Adega.
Okay, Adega, sure, whatever. But anyway,
He's like, I was hiding in the closet, son. They didn't kill me.
Master Adega got away.
I was in the bathroom while that was going on. You see,
But
That's right.
PJ,
Well-
you gonna be with some legends, man. You're gonna be with some legends for real.
By the way, you guys know that I think that would have been really well explained in the EU had that been addressed properly.
Well, with the temple,
Yeah.
I mean, it was so quick in the movie. That's the stuff I wanted to see. Now, don't get me wrong. Revenge of the Sith is my second favorite Star Wars movie, but man, come on, bring the pain. I want to see what went on in that temple.
What just simply the part of it that's sheer unadulterated bullshit is that there wouldn't have been a shitload of honor guards just like chilling.
Yeah,
Like every other major establishment and any other thing, there's honor guards all over the flipping place.
yeah.
Like, because they ain't got nothing better to do. It's the one thing that they make pretty clear about the future. There's really not a whole lot to do. There's a lot of standing around going on.
yeah, and somebody's gonna grab a lightsaber, even if they ain't a Jedi. They're gonna say, "Hey, wait a minute, what's this?" What? Oh, I slipped and cut your hand off. I'm sorry. I'll do it again.
They made it seem like when he marched into the temple, the only people that was in there were children.
And that's
Yeah.
stupid.
yeah. Which is dumb. Which
There's
is
a couple
dumb.
of teenagers.
Right? Because there would have been a ton of teachers. He would have had to go hacking and slashing through women and children.
There would have been some men there too, saying, "Hey, wait a minute here. Why kill all these young men? Why kill all these women?"
Right.
That made the Jedi look irresponsible.
Well, see, it does. Yeah, it does make it irresponsible. But they did that, I think, to try to create an avenue so that we would accept the stupidness that is him being so naive that he would kill all his friends, kill a bunch of children, kill his own wife, and then still think like, "Oh, that's cool."
Well, why did the droid stop him? The droid should have stopped him too, first of all, too, to say, "Hey, wait a minute here." Especially someone like General Grievous saying, "Hey, hold it."
And again, it's this far in the future, right? We're back to that argument. Where are all the layers of protection?
Exactly, but anyway,
What ain't they got a
Denali.
ring doorbell? They know.
Denali, are you? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Finish.
Good, no.
Stoggy.
I was just talking shit. It's cool.
Denali, are you ever going to sell out to Disney or anybody else?
No.
Oh, you full of shit. If they said, "Hey, son, I got $1 billion," you'd be like, "Sold. You want my soul too?"
where's my
No. You know why? Because my dream is to buy them all out.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, that would never happen.
You never say never.
You're simply not evil enough.
But I
And you
will
don't
be.
have enough
But I
prestige
will be.
upstage Disney.
He said, "I will be."
Man, Walt Disney's head is like alive in the basement with like probes coming out of it. It's on ice and shit, and it's still spouting all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's right. That's right. What do you think? McFarlane has an ongoing joke on Futurama with the floating heads.
Yeah, Futurama. I was thinking that.
Exactly. That they got his head in the tank with that Futurama dust in there, so he'll never die.
Yeah.
And he's just waiting to be reincarnated on some other body of some dying dude.
That was the plan. Yeah, he wants to come back.
I mean, because they said there was all this stuff
Steven.
about Disney, him being frozen, and then when the movie Frozen came out, then that all disappeared into the dark web somewhere. Because they didn't want people to know that, wait a minute, was he chronologically frozen or was he not?
He's in the bowels of Epcot Center. That's why they shut down the central theme park for renovations.
Bury their dead bodies there either, though, too, because people were dumping their dead bodies in ashes there at Disney World for the longest, and they said, you ain't burying your dead body here because there's Disney here.
No, they throw the dead bodies into the water. There's alligators there.
Oh yeah, because they said that was actual skulls of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and stuff.
Yeah,
that was actual people's skulls, and people actually died there at Disney for the longest too.
Yeah. Yeah.
The workers did, like, they had this revolving stage, and the girl got caught in the stage when it was turning around, and she got caught in there. She died.
I mean, why do you think Disney bought it? Location that was originally swamp.
Exactly.
Makes you think. Underground tunnels.
Where I grew up was
swamp,
first of all, you have to understand, most of Florida was built by the mob and then by the influx of cocaine. So yeah, it was never really being built by or funded by good things.
Nope.
Hey,
Neither
boys.
was my hometown where I grew up.
I had to be a party pooper, but I got to go.
It's probably about that time.
What?
Good night, Fatal. Thanks for joining us.
Before I leave,
We're just warming up. What the hell, man?
Before I leave, PJ, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to meet these awesome people.
Thank you for coming, Fatal.
DINALE, I hope I'm saying your name right. DINALE?
DINALE, yeah.
DINALE.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you much success because it sounds like you know what you're doing. It sounds like your book is original, and I love originality. And sign Fatal J up to buy that book. Mr. George, me and you've been talking. You sound like the sensei when it comes to this kung fu world, and I want to be your student. So let me know how that can happen. Okay. Stoggy, you the man, man. What can I say about you? and Miss Alyssa, did I say that right? Alicia, you asked me in a private chat. Let's collab. Hey, I'm down for that.
Hey, no problem. With I got these interviews and other things, and hopefully with almost 9,000 subscribes. Hey, let's go for it, buddy.
You had 9,000 subscribers?
I said 900.
Oh,
almost 1,000.
946.
Like, man, you're killing it on YouTube.
Well, I am killing it because I'm doing a lot of content on there.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Everybody, thank you for having me. Everybody have a good, restful night.
Good night, Fatal. Thanks for coming.
No problem.
Yep, I gotta go too. I'm taking off, PJ. I gotta get some food.
Yeah, I just wanted to wrap this up. I wanted to thank DINALE so much for this all your time, and I hope you enjoyed talking about your project. We certainly did. Thank you very much, DINALE.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was good to kind of unveil it. I know a lot of people have been asking, who knows me, been asking, when are you going to show? When are you going to show? And now I'm able to show some part of it. And as the spring and summer continues, I'll be showing more and more, and hopefully getting more people excited.
Okay, what he's trying to say is, yeah, it was a fun stream.
It was a fun stream.
Yeah, DINALE, definitely consider that TikTok thing I was talking about. That might be a good way for you to get some free publicity.
Absolutely.
And when I get my Orville Nation started and everything like that, I will definitely have you on there too to get people knowing about you as well.
Oh, awesome. I greatly appreciate it.
So thanks a lot, guys. George, thank you so much for your time. Stoggy, thanks for jumping in. Alicia, thanks for jumping in. Thanks to Adega. Adega, you're absolutely. Adega, you are amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, and again, Stephen Klein, Tink, Joe, everybody, Axonar, Philip, everybody who's in here. Thanks, guys. You guys all have a great night. And don't forget, tomorrow, Alan Dean Foster and Robert Meyer Burnett and this other guy, PJ, on George Peter GATSIS channel. See you guys tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern on George's channel.
Good night, guys.
Night.
Good night.